want money for me to buy the latest version of iPhone. I need to demonstrate how that whatever box of metal or whatever. They need to demonstrate the quality of that product commensurate with the previous iPhones. They need to demonstrate happy with them selling it and so on. You understand what I mean? But bear with me for a second. What if someone comes and tries to sell me the latest version of iPhone? But I find out that this company called Apple, which is the producer of iPhones, have a huge lawsuit against this latest version. They say, not our iPhone, not ours. We have a huge problem. And then you take the iPhone and you try and find out what it has. It can't even bring someone in a consistent manner. The video graphics, very nasty and so on. In other words, in terms of quality, you find it to be awful. In other words, Apple doesn't like it. The quality of the product is so terrible, and you have a few more reasons to consider that this is a fake latest version. What would you do? You would not be foolish enough to put in a few £100 and buy that iPhone, would you? Latest version. You would only say, hey, someone is trying to con me. That's what you would say. And that is exactly what you need to do with this, my dear friends. Because the Bible disagrees with this. The Hebrew scriptures, well, without saying much, is really saying this is a load of rubbish. The Greek New Testament also does something similar. You only need to read the text of the Hebrew scriptures and the Greek New Testament for you to find out that this is a cheap, I don't want to say Chinese, a cheap imitation. Nothing in relation to the Bible, but rather a cheap imitation. You need to wake up and come to the reasonable conclusion that you should stop following this religion. To every Muslim, enough of wasting your time, energy and money on this cheap imitation. So if you haven't been on Hajj so far, don't go. Don't go to Mecca. Don't spend that money traveling to Mecca, because this is one of the aspects by which the financial fraud, the biggest, arguably the biggest financial fraud in history shows up. You put in all that money to travel to Mecca for what? Find out that Jesus in history demonstrated that he died, came back alive.
So you don't think the word that you use against...
Please come here, sir. Please come. Yeah. What's your name?
Ali.
Ali. Please go.
You don't think the word that you just say is a part of divide and rule? Someone wants to say
it is part of divide and rule. What I am trying to divide is truth from lies. Truth and lie can never cohabit.
Who is the benefit for the thing that you say?
Every human being, when they know what the lie is, they'll benefit.
People have
Do you, excuse me sir, one second. Would you benefit if I reveal a lie to you? If someone wanted to con you, and if I reveal that con to you, would that benefit you? It won't? Are you sure about this?
Yeah.
You don't like the police?
Your money.
No. You don't like the police?
Yes. He does not.
So do you like the...
follow the law of the country that they
You're now struggling. You're now really struggling. Let me ask. Go back and ask.
It should be stopped, but it's in God's
And here I believe that's why Peter started by saying, Simon Peter, takbir.
Yes, you have that belief. I know you have that belief, but the evidence does not support it. You understand?
No, sometimes
You can have that belief.
I'll play like precious space.
You can have that belief. But the evidence is suggesting otherwise. The evidence suggesting Christianity is actually winning more hearts and minds than Islam.
Okay, are you saying...
Even though in there are at least 10 Muslim countries, if you leave Islam, you'll be put to death. There are at least 13 other Muslim countries, if you leave Islam, you will face criminal penalties.
Okay, hold on.
Islam should be doing better than Christianity, because in some countries it's illegal to leave Islam.
Will you let me speak as well?
Please let me speak now. So in practice, what we see that Christianity is winning more hearts. It's predicted to get 40 million converts from 2010 to 2050, where Islam only 12 million. So Christianity is already getting 3 more times converts.
Okay. There are churches all over Europe, including this country, in England, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, which are closing down.
Yeah, not a widespread spread.
Listen, so do you agree with me that Christian churches are closing down?
I agree, Christian church and mosque closed.
Mosque closed? No.
Yeah, mosque closed, churches closed, churches get built, mosques get built. Churches and mosques have always been closing down, building again.
Okay.
That's been going on for the past.
You mentioned the Pew Research Organization, yes?
Yeah.
Do you know what the Pew Research Organization said? In this country, United Kingdom, in the year 2100, how many million Muslims?
I don't know.
Let me tell you, more than 22 million Muslims. And the most people here will be the atheists. And the biggest religion here will be Islam.
Okay, but
your churches are closing down.
But even so, what does that prove?
What does that prove?
Yeah, because with United Kingdom, for me,
you are disunited.
No, hold on. The United Kingdom is not the yardstick for finding out what the truth about God is.
Okay.
If the United Kingdom says something, doesn't mean it's right. The United Kingdom can be fooled.
Let me tell you, in France,
to come back to your point,
in France, 20 million.
You said the United Kingdom can be majority atheist, but you not believe in atheism. You will not, because the UK is becoming majority
but among
atheist.
religions, Islam will be number one.
So what you're saying is, because the United Kingdom will be more atheist and Islam was the biggest religion, of the religions, Islam is preferable, but by your same logic, atheism, no religion at all, should be preferable to Islam.
So why will there be more Muslims here than Christians?
Because birth rates, Muslims have more children than Christians.
Right.
It's not through conversion. It's not through logic. It's not through logic. It's not through conversion. It's not through persuasive arguments. It's not through the evidence. Was
Muhammad, peace be upon him, an Arab?
Yes.
I'm from Pakistan. 250 million Pakistanis.
And the Muslim armies, they got to the Indian subcontinent because they invaded. They did a military invasion.
Invaded what? Spain?
Spain, and also the Indian subcontinent upon which you were mentioned. You say from Pakistan. The Muslims, they invaded the Indian subcontinent. That's why you have many Muslims there.
Listen.
So it's not through logic and persuasive arguments and evidence, is it?
Listen.
Give me cases, right, where Muslims have successful. Give me examples where Muslims have used persuasive and convincing arguments that have convinced intellectuals or their cause, and that's how Islam spread en masse. I want to see examples of that.
Listen.
Then I'll take it seriously.
Listen.
Yeah.
In Spain, Muslims ruled there from 711 according to the Christian calendar.
Yes.
To the year 1492.
Yeah, they got there by military conquest. They conquered it by military force, and then it was reconquered. Yeah.
Listen, So when the Muslims were ruling Spain, nearly all of Spain, did they tell the Spanish people you have to become Muslim or you get out or you die?
They did. Hold on. They said either you convert or you pay the jizya or we kill you. That's what they said.
Okay, tell me.
Convert, jizya or kill you. Basically, if Christians and Jews wanted to live, they had to live. You answer the question. Let me answer. The Christians and the Jews, they lived as second-class citizens under Dhimmi. They had to pay a tax, a subjugation tax under the Muslim law.
Did you mention the Jews?
Christians and Jews, yeah.
Okay, let me get on to that. Did you know Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a Muslim?
No, I didn't know.
He was a Muslim?
I didn't know.
And we are Muslims.
This is my first time hearing it, first time in my life.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay, was Jesus a Christian?
He was a Jew whose teachings founded Christianity. He founded the church. He founded Christianity.
So you said Jesus was a Jew, yes?
Yes.
Are you saying your God Jesus was a Jew?
The second person of the Trinity took on human flesh. So his human nature was Jewish. Yeah.
Was Jesus always God?
In his divine nature, yes.
He was always God.
His divine essence, yes.
Right. So when on earth was Jesus God?
Yes.
Right. When on earth was Jesus a Jew?
Yes.
When on earth was your God? He said Jesus on earth was God, yeah? Right. So on earth was your God Jesus a Jew?
Well, his human nature was Jewish.
So he was a Jew?
Well, yeah, the God-man was Jewish, yeah.
What do you mean God-man?
Jesus is the God-man. The God-man was a Jew.
So are you saying Jesus was man, he was not God?
Okay, so the Council of Chalcedon in 431 was an ecumenical council. They answer your question. They say Jesus had two natures united in one person. He had a God nature and a human nature, and he's united in one person without conflating, without intermingling, without separation, because they're united in one person. In the same way, you have a physical nature as a body, you have a spiritual nature as a soul, two distinct natures, but they are united in one person, similar to Jesus.
Okay, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you as a Christian pray to Jesus?
Jesus prayed to his Father.
Chapter 3, verse 3. For God so loves the world.
How did it stop?
Просто обхон сделали.
That's an ingredient. That's an ingredient.
Austin, you might know about science.
Every statement, then every
Congratulations.
The moment you go
Oh, I didn't pray today 5 times. Allah will put a chain in my back pocket. Don't pray about that. Allah will come to their home every single year and put a big chain in their back pocket with their hands. Yeah. Yeah, friends.
I'm dictated a lot of things. But I suppose we can.
Not my fault. But Islam, if you don't pray 5 times, Allah will put a big chain behind your ass and Allah will kiss you in your ass, in your ears, in your nose. That is all.
Lord.
In the mosque, in the toilet. In the
And she went to a really good school. No, what
Who says contemplate on marriage? What's the difference between a girlfriend, a bitch?
Hold on, men stop. Hold on, there's one minute. As long as there's no contact at that time. Let's jump for your wife. This part.
Okay, fine. Is anybody else planning on having a child? It's a dream. I saw Prince. We were at a zoo. There was like cats.
So they got our people to establish that. So they created a lot of injuries where they could have avoided all of these things. Because again, they themselves could be held accountable, but those that have foreign policies, they won't be accountable because they're not the one to manage your own affairs. They do foreign policies for foreigners. That's why you can see the influx of, again, the European Union, all these things. So they already, because of this incident, they realize that, again, there's an issue, but the issue is for those like, again, King Charles, is for those that do have a right and duty for the people of the land. And this is why it's very important to have an understanding, because this thing cannot be removed. It's there, it's established in Parliament as statute. You know, so because it's established as statute, they already acknowledge that they're wrong. That's an important acknowledgement. So they're saying how much wrong is there? How wrong is it? So it's time to be educated to see how wrong it is, so that the problem that's coming now can be stopped. Because if you don't, because this shows you that there's a problem from that time that is rolling up to this time. So if you're able to,
it's not resolved yet. And it's not resolved yet.
And it's not resolved yet.
Of them already dead.
All right.
Nobody got any compensation. Not even sorry.
Not even that's. But this is the. But because those that are doing the policies, they don't have. They're deprived of the knowledge themselves. So it's whoever that put them in office. Because, for instance, anyone to come in to sign any work, they have to have the qualification. If they're not qualified to take on the work, you're not supposed to put them in. But because certain things couldn't be in place if there were people that do not have knowledge. So, because certain people that do have knowledge, they won't do certain things because they know the repercussions. But certain people that don't have knowledge, they will put them there to do certain things because they don't know. So they will take whatever situation that comes. You get it? Because that's what you call deprivation. When you don't have knowledge of certain things, you are easily controlled. You're easily manipulated. That's why it's important to have knowledge. And the thing, this is the reason why. Because equality, you know, equality is being degraded.
The people that are there, they're not fit for purpose for that position.
But that's what I was mentioning.
Fit for purpose.
Because like I say, before, Magna Carta tells you that everyone is able to come freely within. But when you start to increase other values more than others, that's where the issue comes in. Because you're not allowing others to, again, grow. And that too causes a chain of events. That too conflict within communities. So the important part of it is that for the acknowledgement of wrongdoings, you have to be able to change the wrongdoings of ineffective time, because again it's going to roll over to the other people that are here. As you can see, everyone is being affected right now because the people that are in power ain't got the qualification to handle, again, certain affairs, because certain affairs allow for everyone to be able to have housing, to be able to have health care. As you can see, even down to the health care system, based on the foreign policies, that people that really need it are being deprived.
Mismanagement.
So it's showing you it's not just, again, a group of people, but now it's going over to the collective, because who's establishing the work is not really having the qualification for the work.
So it's mismanagement in abundance.
And this is where everything gets overboiled, because now they know the main source of this is control, and that control is going to go down to psychology, because when you're deprived of certain information, you could easily be controlled. You give over everything to whoever is providing. So like for instance now, majority
Yeah, give me a break. They're standing here for 5 minutes. Quiet, then you take them back. They don't really like it. They just delude themselves to like it. I know they like something. Why don't you just give them a cigarette?
Well, he should have.
I don't really want this.
See, it's the same as God.
My parents loved each other. Why should I have to deal with someone like this?
Yeah, I got you. Thank you.
So how are you alive? You can't.
They both accept the Trinity. They both accept the
It's free speech. Christian Muslim. Because I read the Bible, I read the Quran, I understand the Bible more than you. No. I understand the Bible more than you. Jesus is not Lord. Jesus is not Lord, my friend. Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus is the Messiah. Get that right first.
Okay, please come here and explain how Jesus is your Messiah. What does that mean? Jesus is the Messiah. What does that mean?
He's a messenger. He's a messenger.
Messiah means messenger. Because both have MESS at their start. Is that why?
Just like Abraham was
become a messenger.
Okay, a prophet.
Do you understand? Do you understand the Hebrew word Messiah? Messiah. Do you understand that word?
Well, what does it mean?
Well, you tell me.
You tell me. Because you Christians, you like to interpret things. So you tell me your interpretation of that.
It's not about interpretation, it's about understanding simple Hebrew words. The Messiah in the Hebrew understanding, my dear friend, please listen.
Do you understand how you alive?
I'm reading two different things.
How are you alive?
Through my precious God, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Oh my God.
What does God put in you to be alive?
What did God put in me?
God don't die, my friend. But Jesus, Christians say Jesus died.
So how do you believe in God?
Because I have other evidence.
Wait.
Other evidence. Are you listening right now? Are you listening right now? Please listen to me.
You said I can't see the Quran. I don't have a Quran. Can you see your soul?
Listen to me carefully. I can't see my soul, but I have other evidence. I did not say.
We have other evidence.
What's the evidence? Please come. The evidence for the Quran being from Allah. Explain.
I don't care about religion.
You don't care?
I don't care at all.
Is there any evidence for this to be from anyone like a God? To me, it seems like this is not even from Mickey Mouse. That's what it seems to me. It does not have basic awareness of history. How can it be from anyone? It's not even from a regular human being.
Going to experience something in your life. You speak a
I'll come to that. You seem a bit offended right now. Please explain to me. This one, how do you get the remotest of clues that this is from any supernatural source? Explain.
I want to make sure you are.
Anyone? Are you Muslim also, sir? You're not. So he is not going to help you right now. When you cycle back home, if he thinks, no, you're on the spot.
Oh God Almighty, the creator of heaven and the whole world,
Good.
Who is
The
Jesus?
lovely man.
Is he the one who
Now,
brought to save
you
humanity?
need to engage with the
Is it through your
conversation.
son? Has he
Being
done
lovely
in your
isn't enough.
Yes,
in
I
heaven
know.
there are many
Because
rooms.
if you're
I believe
deluded,
in him,
walking around, I am the President of the United States,
Show
won't
me,
help.
he said this thing was
So you need to
Is
get
it
back
true?
to the facts. Give me reasons why you think this is from God.
I was trying to God.
tell me
The power of God came
why
up.
you think
What
Jesus
happened
is
in
God?
Jerusalem 2000? I experienced
In other words, you haven't got a clue.
No. Don't give me that. You people believe that
Then-
Jesus is God.
So I know.
Will you ever defend this or not?
Jesus
So when
is
I
not
read
God.
further in the
Jesus
in the
is
Acts,
not God.
Peter
How
was
does
saying
that help
there
your
is
Quran?
no one given among men
Jesus is not
that
God.
we
How
can be
does that help
saved
your
except the
Quran?
name Jesus. I know.
messenger
It's
from
true.
God.
My problem,
Jesus, out of nowhere.
my dear friends, the problem is this.
Then the next thing
Islamic
is, where do I
Allah
go?
has
Like
been
you mentioned,
suffering
Methodist, Roman, I don't
right
want to go
through
to
the
church because
winter,
this is
and
saying
now
it.
you know beginning to
So
see
in
the
Germany,
spring a little bit.
when I finished work
Islamic
at
Allah
11
has
in the
a
night, I
nasty
was working in a
cold,
There's
and
a
it
playground
doesn't
like
seem
here,
to be
you know, there's a wood
recovering.
there.
So you are a lovely man.
You
What's your
said
name?
Christ is God. Now,
What's your name?
I know
What's
that
your name?
Jesus-
What's your name?
My name is doesn't matter.
Your name doesn't matter. That's a good name. So it doesn't matter. Please explain to me. Please don't go to Jesus because Jesus. No. Commenting.
You said Jesus. I said,
Let me ask. Commenting about Jesus will that help Islamic Allah, my dear friend? He thinks commenting about Jesus isn't going to help your Islamic Allah. Excuse me, sir. Are you Muslim, sir? Are you Muslim, sir?
You said Jesus.
Are you Muslim, sir?
I'm a Muslim.
What book did you last read, sir? Did you read the Quran today, sir?
Jesus is God. That's why I stopped to come and challenge you.
Excuse me, sir.
Jesus is not God.
Did you read the Quran earlier today?
Jesus is not God.
Did you read the Quran?
Take that bullshit out of your mind, man.
Did you read the
Why
Quran?
don't answer him?
Give me one reason, one good reason, and we'll deal with this. One good reason.
Jesus is a prophet, Messiah, sent down to bring message. He was sent down for the Hebrews, you know, to stop the violence.
My dear friends, please listen carefully. I've asked a specific question, and the question has a very important word. I'm not asking him to give me his belief statements. I'm asking him reason. One second. My question is specific. I heard him loud and clear, and he says Jesus is not God. Well, good for him. I'm willing to engage with him. I'm not a Muslim. I'm not going to beat him up. No problem. Now, the question though is very specific. He can make any number of claims, but for us to have a productive conversation, he needs to give evidence to back his claims up. What we would normally call, one second. What we would normally call reason. So let me ask you the question again. We will give you take two. Take two. Don't give me belief statements.
No.
Question is specific. Mr. Doesn't know who. I forget the name right now. I apologize. Give me the reason why you think Jesus is not God. Give me the reason.
Everybody wants to hear it.
Everybody. Yes. Go on.
Jesus is not God, yeah?
Yes.
Because God did not die. Yeah?
Nice belief statement. Get to the
God
reason.
did not die. God, you don't see God. You understand? You understand? Jesus is just a prophet, like Moses, like Abraham, like Muhammad, peace be upon him. All the messiahs sent down here, chosen by God himself. Chosen by God to bring messages. And Jesus did not come for all the world. He came for the first.
All right. Are you guys beginning to hear anything that resembles a reason? Is he talking about any historical evidence?
But you say Jesus is God, so why did they crucify?
He says there is no reason. That's good. He thinks there is no reason. You see your friend struggling right now? He is here.
You're not listening to me. You said Jesus is God.
Okay, I'll give him take two, take three.
Okay, take three.
I am waiting for a reason.
You said Jesus is God. Why was he crucified, my friend? Can you kill God? God that created everything. We human, we can kill it.
I'm here.
Brother,
Can you kill God? Answer me then.
Brother, ask him where does it say Jesus is
Did you
God?
give any reason? Take three. Any reason?
This guy's not
Any
serious.
evidence?
You're not
Did
serious.
anyone here anything that resembles a reason or evidence?
say that.
Please clarify. What was the evidence he gave?
No, listen, hold on.
All that I saw him do is stand here and say, I am a Muslim.
You said you believe
That's
in
all
God.
he did
You said you believe in
through
God.
his various
God is
words.
Jesus. I'm telling you, Jesus is not God. Because you cannot kill God. You cannot kill God. God does not die. Okay?
All right.
He's
So,
not.
my dear friends, now that you are
He's
here,
a messenger. He's a messenger.
now
from
that
God.
you are here,
He's a messenger from God. You cannot kill God. All that he died in the cross, all that bullshit is bullshit.
good.
You worship.
I know.
You worship pagans.
I know you hate.
understand?
I know you hate Christianity.
No, I don't hate Christianity. I was brought up a Catholic. I don't hate Christianity.
Same thing, same thing. Now,
But
coming
Christianity
to this.
tells lies.
Coming to this.
Christianity tells lies.
Why are you upset?
I'm not upset.
Now let's. You said earlier Jesus was the Messiah.
He's a
What-
messenger.
Messiah. You said Messiah. Do you know what Messiah is?
You tell me.
Do you know or not?
You tell me.
I'll tell
I
you.
have my own but I want to hear from your perspective.
I'll tell you, but what do you know?
tell me. I'm not angry. I'm not angry. Do I look angry?
Frustrated.
Listen, I'm a man. I speak like a man. I don't speak like no
I
fool.
know you speak
And
like a
that's why I don't
man,
speak like
but
fool.
we want you to
with
speak like a
voice because
sensible
I'm
man.
passionate about what I speak about. You understand? Just like you. You were all rare. But you say you believe in Jesus, that Jesus is God. Man, you cannot kill God.
Do you
God does
understand?
not die.
We moved on right now, please.
Yeah.
Please, we need to update the software right
Stop saying
now.
that Jesus is God.
Do you know what the word Messiah means?
Tell me. Tell me your definition.
Do you know? Don't
Tell
you
me
know?
your definition.
Do you know?
Tell
Don't
me
you
your
know?
definition
All
of
right.
Messiah.
So again, Muslims would stand
Tell me
here
your
and claim.
definition.
Is there any Muslim who can demonstrate what the claim Jesus is Al-Masih, the Messiah, means? Do you know anyone? Any Muslim? You, sir, please come here. Explain to me how Jesus is the Messiah.
You
Please
keep
come.
asking people questions, but you know.
You, sir, you try to help
know
somebody. You
answer.
should be able to get to that.
Innit?
You're making a big
How is
claim.
Jesus
Yeah.
the Messiah? Specific question, we need a specific answer.
You're not going to get all the answers that you need.
I know from Muslims I won't get the answer. I know that.
Oh, yeah,
I
sure,
know
sure.
that.
Can you imagine?
Listen,
Is there
God
any
created
Muslim who wants to
everything,
take
my
a
friend.
stab at
He
this?
created everything, but man
How
can kill him.
is Jesus?
I don't know what kind of God is that.
Okay, you give one last chance to the Muslims out here.
Yeah.
My dear young Muslims.
Yes, yes, show me. When did Jesus say he's God in the Bible?
Show us one statement.
Show me in the Bible, you read the Bible, where Jesus said, I am God.
Exactly. Show
When are you
him.
going
Show
to
him.
calm down?
Show him.
I am God.
Show him.
Stop
No,
it.
just
No.
show
Show
us.
him. Just show him.
We need to do one by one.
Show him.
Let's see.
Show him.
Show us.
Show him.
Show us.
Show him. Show him.
Have you heard of this? Wow.
Show
We have
him.
evidence from Quran.
Is that your entourage?
No, it's my friend.
And that gentleman?
Yeah, we all brothers.
We all
We
how
all
are you
brothers
brothers?
under the
Don't
sun,
worry.
man.
Don't worry. Just show.
All brothers. What?
Don't worry.
We all
Just show him.
brothers under the sun,
Bro,
under the sky. We
Tell him, show
all
him.
brothers.
Tell him, show him.
We all one family, man.
Me included.
You included.
Good. Now, I'm going to tell you, those brothers of yours aren't doing you a favor.
No.
We
You're
have-
not doing yourself a favor, man.
We have updated ourselves.
Yo, show
Let
us.
me ask you a specific
Tell him to
question.
show. Tell him to
How
show.
many of you
Change
Please
his
can
show
go?
me. Show me where
show me
Jesus
first.
says God.
Show him
Please.
first.
Please.
Show him first. Show him
Please.
first.
Please.
Let's
Show
not
me.
make-
Just
I
show
have
me.
not changed. I have not changed.
Listen,
Please.
just
You're making
show
a
me.
big claim.
Show him first.
All
Making a
right.
big claim.
You know what a
Back it
software
from your Holy
update is?
Scripture.
I'm begging, show me. Show me.
I know I haven't
Back-
changed. I haven't changed.
Back it from the Holy
We're dealing with a particular point right now, and you need to stick to the details. Otherwise, you will remain in your confusion. You have a claim.
See, this is the point.
I
You
am
have a
here
claim. Prove
to
it.
help you leave Islam.
You have claim.
That is why I am here. Therefore, I'm going to
One
ask you.
question. You have a claim.
No. Please listen.
We asked you one question, you can't answer.
Do you have? Is there any Muslim here who can quote one passage in the Quran and demonstrate that the Quran is aware of the previous testaments, previous contracts, Abrahamic contract, Mosaic contract, Davidic contract, contracts through Jesus Christ? Does the Quran show any awareness of any one of these contracts, any one of these testaments? You, sir. Don't back off.
You know what, yeah? You know what?
I know everything. Please answer my question. Thank you. Any answer?
Listen.
We haven't got much time.
Yeah, sorry.
We haven't got much time.
You know what?
No.
You'll be a good politician.
Good.
Because you avoid every question.
You're diverting.
Yeah. You'll be a very very good politician.
Any answer to the question I asked? Question. Yeah, question. Your question is not even a question. What is your question? Good. Your question. Come here. I'll repeat my question. No. We're not going to go to your Do you think Quran is the last testament? Do you think Quran is the last testament?
British
Quran is the last testament. And if you are, how old are you? 30. A 30-year gentleman, I love
He's just holding the book.
He's just holding it. Excuse me, sir.
He doesn't open it and explain or show.
A 30-year-old gentleman, please wait. Please wait. A 30-year-old gentleman, a 30-year-old gentleman is standing at the park and he is claiming that this is the last testament. So one would assume, good. So one would assume, because he is claiming that this is the last testament, one would assume he knows, he has some details about the previous testaments. Yeah? That's a reasonable assumption. Do you know about the previous testaments?
Why should that be the case? Here we go.
If I were to
He's
stand
changing
here,
proper politician, you know.
If I were to stand here and claim,
you're a politician, my friend. You're a politician.
You ask a question, hear the answer. You ask the question, hear the answer.
You're a politician.
If you ask question, hear the answer.
No. If I want things to run, you will be like this. You are walking everywhere.
Easy.
Is the Quran?
So if you ask a question, hear the
Is
answer.
the Quran knowledgeable?
You're only asking, not hearing.
Exactly.
You're only asking, not hearing. He's trying to talk, you're not listening to him. He's not hearing him. He's not hearing. He's avoiding, diverging.
I asked a very specific question.
He's trying to answer, he cannot talk.
So I am going to look for the answer. The question is very simple.
He is a good politician.
Good, thank you very much.
He's a
If you
good
vote for
politician.
me, if I get 0 votes, I'm going to come after you.
No, I will not vote for you, believe me.
You have said this is the last testament, and therefore I'd like to know from you if you are aware of the previous testaments, namely Abrahamic covenant, Mosaic covenant, Davidic covenant, covenant in Jesus Christ. Are you aware of any one of these? Are you aware of any one of these?
Are you aware of a place called No, exactly.
I'm not talking about that.
Sounds like the reason is you're asking questions which are not related to the topic. Let's come back. Let's go back to the topic.
Putting water in a basket.
You're
talking to him.
No.
The topic.
Clearly,
Jesus is God.
the Islamic brainwashing has worked really well with him. Let me demonstrate.
You did not let him answer 1 point.
Let's talk about your
One
Not
second.
30 seconds I've been talking.
We have a particular topic at hand. No, we have a particular topic.
I challenge you right now.
I'm not, excuse me, sir. If you don't engage, if
You are asking, not hearing.
engage with the previous question, I won't take you seriously.
You are asking, not hearing any answer. He did not talk even 1 word. He could not hear 2 words. You are asking question after question, not letting him hear.
One second. We are.
Let
One
him
second.
answer.
We are on hold. We need to change battery. One second.
He is running away.
Quran is a hadith to you, number 4 hadith. The Quran is the number 1, and then you have the hadith, right? And then you have
That's where the Islamic they stop.
Wait. Let me ask one question.
She used to be a decent man. I don't know what happened. What happened to like who upset
Some people have been drunk. What drug twilight?
No. Understand.
I would say God is good. He is a source of all goodness. He's a source of everything. Yeah, you can say that, but I would say essentially he's good. There's nothing evil. He doesn't take anybody. It's not a recorded conversation.
Yeah, very well.
To Sam and get Sam always does this. Well, I gotta go and pray, right? But we'll catch up. Yeah, see you later. Have you had a conversation with him? That's told me I'm a Muslim. No, I didn't see the video. Apparently, I'm not I'm still here. I see you right now.
Let's go to the
Yes, yes, yes.
That's very
David.
No worries, no worries, all good, all good. All good, thank you. You did send him over here, all good. Fine. No worries, no worries, we're good. No worries, man, no worries. I look after them. I look after them. No one's gonna break the phone. Yeah, thank you.
I don't want so
If they do, then we'll fight.
I don't want so cold.
No, it's all good. Two things. Remind me to keep away from these two. He's there.
You know your friend. He was talking to Ben for a while. I know this. So I don't know what he was saying to him. He seems to be having a bit of a conversation.
What was him?
It was just straight ahead. Last time I saw him.
No, the angle doesn't make sense for
So, hold on, as a West African following Abraham's religion, and then the question, you know why I say that? Because you know why I say that?
Surah 17, Ayah 17. No, tells us that different planets have specific points where they rise up unless you mention
Did you know I just asked Ravi, why didn't you call Arul? And he said, I was recording him.
Yes, good.
Schism was it?
Yeah, that's the weird thing. One of Soccer's videos where
How terrible I call this. I am terrified right now, and I'm going to give up on what I was going to say earlier. Nice try, Yahya. Let's read the verse. Surah 17, Ayah 40. It says, but no, please listen. Excuse me, but no, I swear by the Lord of the rising places and the setting places of the planet. The rising places and the setting places of the planet. What is going on here? What is the Islamic religion? Surah 17. No mercy.
I love all of them.
What's up?
God of Israel is not with them. They must do it after Israel. They Zionists.
Why?
Hold on, 1 second.
Who is guilty?
Who is guilty? Shut up! Never shut up!
Okay, who is guilty? Okay, who is guilty?
Which Israel?
God, that is scattered in every nation.
Who's guilty?
12 tribes done that. That's the one that is right. Israel is a place. Israel is a nation.
It's a people, yeah.
Right. And it's not those people.
Okay, that's your position. Okay. That's your position. But remember what's happening.
So what's it?
I accept that. I accept your position that Israel is not per se a place. It's a people. I accept that. But remember we had a conversation one time. I'm not sure you remember. That God is coming, Jesus is coming back to where? To Jerusalem.
Who's guilty?
To save
Me.
the people
Who's guilty?
from the nation.
Who's guilty?
Hallelujah.
You remember when?
You're very liar.
Jerusalem.
You're very liar. Who is
There's
guilty?
only one Jerusalem.
Who is guilty?
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you, sister. Allah is Muhammad is fraud. Muhammad is fraud.
Okay, show me.
He's a pedophile.
Okay, do you want me to show you from my position?
Muhammad
We had
has
this
sex
conversation.
with a 9-year-old child.
Yes.
So you believe a prophet?
Okay,
You had sex
let me read it
with a
again.
9-year-old child.
Listen.
Go and check your own book. Not from Bible. It's from your own book. The proof that Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old child.
What is my position? I'm not saying
Where's the proof?
I may not agree with you, you may not agree with me. But I don't mean we have to be disagreeable.
Where's the proof?
Concerning the Israel that we those people who are in the land, is your position that these are the people?
Yes, you said that before. Good question.
You said that before.
Your daughter has a right to die.
I would say that these are
the Jews who are there, the people who were in America who was called back from all parts of the world to come and dwell there.
I would say yes.
So these.
That's my position.
Yeah. So the God of the Bible, are you saying that these are the people that when he said, I'm the God of the Israelites, these are the people?
You believe them. That's my position.
That's all right.
Give me the proof, don't fiction. Give me the proof, don't fiction. Yalla, come, yalla, let's go. Let's make butter chicken now, yalla. Let's go. Yalla, give me don't fiction.
I will give you the proof. Don't worry. You want to talk to me nicely? I will give you the proof.
I see Ash debating and you are not. Whoa! Ash idiot. Yeah, the rules that he said.
Only idiot Jamaicans that follow them. Trust me, nothing to do with them. This is this is the confusion, man. Oh? Ben's there.
I report that I was 7 years old and she was 10 years old and she was 80 when Muhammad died. 21. Prophet married me when I was 9 years old.
That's disgusting behavior. 9 years old.
Are you hearing it, man? You're hearing it. Saying the truth. No, but you hear.
6 years old.
He gave you proof. He gave you proof.
like Isaac.
Okay, now let her go.
Isaac, my Rebecca was 12.
Please don't follow her.
Listen, she's following other people.
We follow her. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
She's a demon. She's a demon.
Ben's taking the program,
He's taking the script.
I mean, I don't care why you don't. Where is your evidence? 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 No evidence. Find me the proof. Find me the proof.
No evidence. He's Muslim now. No evidence. It's because it's the hatred. No, it's because the wicked.
Where is your proof? He's Muslim now.
And the hatred. No.
Pedophilia. He's defending pedophilia. Just to let you know that Unitarian is Muslim now. Where is your proof? I don't want your trust.
No, I am
You see? Spirit have to reveal, right?
Okay, but it's not equal because they are demons. The reason why they are demons, and tell me that it is okay, because it is not okay. It's supposed to be equal, because in those days it was okay when men married young ladies. So Christians want to come in the park and talk about how married young ladies and so on. But Isaac married her when she was 12. No one ain't talking about that. Isaac married Rebecca when she was 12 years old. No one talking about that. So those days it was okay. Those days it was okay. Those days it was okay. So why are we talking about? So why are we talking about things? Why we come in the park talking about things from way back then? Why we come in the park talking about things from way back then? It's because it's hatred that
I can't say my life when I'm talking truth.
It's hatred.
You know what I'm saying?
Because way back then, man used to marry young girls when they start seeing their puberty. Marry the young girls when they start seeing their puberty. So what's wrong with that? If you do it now, it's a pedophile. You're a pedophile. If you marry the young girls now, you are a pedophile. But back in the days, it was okay. Back in the days, it was okay. But now, it's not okay. It's because the hatred that they have for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they come in the park and speak all these bad things. Because the hatred, the hater. And I'm relaxed. It's just their hater. No, because listen, this is something that I went and I studied. So when I come in the park and I heard this many times in the park, say Prophet married young girls. And I went and I studied. It's something that I studied. So when I come in the park and I see them saying that, I say it's wrong to say that, because that was in those days. You know what I mean? That was in those days.
But do you know
if I was living in those days back then, and I can murder young girls, then back then you murder a young girl.
But you know the age.
Once you spark,
even the age.
Once you spark puberty.
You know Quran. You know, for us Quran comes first than Hadith. Quran clearly describes the age in which a person can get married. Okay? And according to many ahadiths and many historic evidences, that if you know the age is not what in some places it can describe. There can be a mistake. Look, there is 3 ahadiths. There's one hadith that goes with Quran. There's another hadith which doesn't go against, doesn't go with Quran, which means if the evidence of that is present in Quran, of that hadith. Yeah, of getting married, there is. There is. Brother. Literally Google, brother. The word used. The word used, brother, just literally. It's in Quran. The time. Okay. Listen, the way we count our years right now is not the same back then. That time of getting married, just not just in Islam, back in the day. Whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, whether it's what is that age? That age is when you become mature, not just mature.
Sexually ready, man.
Is it 60?
He just started sexually ready, brother.
Which one's Surah?
Because a girl can be sexually ready, but you don't have to have sex.
You can be ready in the age of 12. You can be ready in the age of 12.
Listen. People used to marry younger than that.
Current world things, the modern civilization, and the second age.
Yeah, there's only one God.
He is Lord. He is Lord. He is risen from the dead, and He is
Identity, because in Islam it means submission.
Those representatives of a murderous establishment, killing people in Gaza, killing people in Ukraine, and yes, killing people en masse in Britain today via the COVID vaccinations that they imposed on society.
I don't hate nobody. Why did not turn up so I don't get a bus and take and pay you? Why did you go to the chest or something? Have I got children? What's that? I've got two kids. That's how I know. That's how I know.
So anyway, I don't know if you want to answer an interesting question.
Which one?
Well, I asked it to some Muslims before, and they didn't seem to. I don't think they understood the point I was trying to make.
And the question is?
Well, you have the Quran was revealed in the 6th century.
Yeah.
So before then, how do people get salvation?
How people get salvation?
Yeah.
When people, they didn't receive any good, it's up to God to judge them according to their capacity, to their level, to their conscience, and anyone who does good or bad, they know. So the salvation, at that time when there is no message being received by people, God will judge them according to their own mentality, their own
right, so that means the message isn't necessary then?
When there, God would not judge somebody about something he have no knowledge of. So when you receive the message and you understand it, then you have the responsibility to act upon it or not from God. So when there's no message, people are living in the darkness, so they are relying on their
own judgment according to anything they do. And people, when they do good or bad, they know, because God planted what's called conscience in our DNA, and we know when we do good or bad.
Okay, so
this is the way I see it.
Right. So since God made Adam, was there a time where He purposely decided that He just didn't want to communicate with man anymore?
No, like what happened is God states that every nation they've been sent a warning, and meanwhile between a nation and another, the one who didn't receive, for example, let's say there are some people in Africa in the jungle, they don't hear about the outward at all, so they live by their own law, their own society. So how can you blame God for not sending them somebody to tell them about His law? So this is in a way what I'm saying, that this is up to the human to, with their conscience, how to deal with daily life.
Right. So at the time when Jesus was here, so He was the messenger. Right. And so when He gave the message out, was it supposed to be something that was supposed to disappear or get forgotten by people? Or
no, it doesn't have to be disappear, because when at that time God sent every while send a messenger to remind them about what's going on, and now the message is universal, because especially with the internet, with the TV, with everything, people can find out about what Christ's message was, what David's message was, what Moses' message was, what Noah's message was, and you come to between you and your God if you want to abide by this message, or you want to reject and you want to live according to your own passion and your own desire.
Right, but that message that Jesus gave, was it always accessible?
First, regarding Jesus, we know that Jesus, He lived 33 years. His message was passed through 3 years, and most of it are to the lost sheep of Israel. God sent Him to bring them back to the original message of Moses and the law, and to abide by the law. Whoever stick to it and believe in Jesus will be among the successful, and whoever choose other, he will be brought on the judgment day, and he will be accounted to what he's done.
So ever since Jesus came with that message, was the message ever invalidated or corrupted since that time?
The message, the greatest message, Jesus came, He said, the Lord our God is one. So He is telling them that to come back to the worship of one God, and to do good and repent and to go back, because it seems that at that time the people start to deviate away from the law of Moses, which is for the people of Israel, and this is why. And I remind you that Jesus at that time, even He commanded His apostle not to go among the Gentile or Smartian, rather go to the lost sheep of Israel. So it's a specific message to a specific race at that time.
Right, so when you say that they went away from the message, that means they had something to go away from, isn't it?
No, because once they gone away from not following the specific rule being advocate for them at that time, so people start to do, take the law as lightly as they wish. This is why at that time God see it is the perfect time for for him to send a messenger to revive and bring back those people to the truth.
Right, so he's going to send a messenger with information which is like incomplete?
No, it's not, I'm not saying it's incomplete because you know Jesus when he come to me, he come as well to ease some of the law, for example, to make it easier for them, because you know that as I know that the Jews they have 613 law, so it's specific how to deal with everything. So the wisdom of God that as long as the people are expanding and going more multiply in numbers, so.
Right, so I just want to confirm, so before the Quran came along, people could still get God's message?
Yeah, there is some. Yeah, because when we say about the Quran, we are talking about the space of period of time which was between Moses and Jesus, which was between Jesus and Muhammad, and from it seems that every period of time God sent somebody to revive and bring people back to Him, because as you can see, people travel and shatter around the globe, and they start to follow their own desire and their own love.
Right, but here's what's interesting is that what we read about things that Jesus said in the Bible, he said things like, told people how to pray, how to fast. He gave them like how to do like communion.
Yeah.
So he gave them foot washing, how to eat bread, and etc.
Yeah.
And then he gave them the rules like on Sermon on the Mount, various things, how they should treat their enemies and their friends, etc. So with all of those encompassing things that Jesus gave, he made sure that it was things which made sense that people could understand. So then why would God send Jesus with that information? Then now a book comes along, he sends another person along with a book, but that book has incomplete information. Like it doesn't tell you how to pray properly, it doesn't tell you how to fast properly, and it doesn't tell you how to treat your enemies properly. So why would God do that?
Because as I said, the message Jesus come, they are coming to the people of Israel.
Yeah.
While with if you talking about Muhammad, what he came with something for the Gentiles and all the world, including the people of the book, because this is the last revelation of God and confirming what preceded, and have more practical way for all human to follow, and new regulation depending on the original law. And you know, if you look at it, it's all, for example, say to worship one God, to forbid evil, to do good, to be good with people, how to treat them, how to deal with everyone in a good manner, and clarity about everything.
So doing good includes you have to do good while you collect the jizya as well.
Regarding the jizya, you know, people, the Muslim are asked to give from their wealth to help the poor, and people who pay jizya, as long as they are living under the protection of the rule of Islam, jizya, I guess, is even less than what for the Muslim to pay. Like we have to pay 2.5 and 100. So 2.50 and 100. And this goes for who? For the poor, for the sick, for the needy, to help others, because this is to protect the society. And jizya, as long as you're living under the rule of the Islamic, you're doing the same. Look, now we are here, for example, in England. We pay, how much we pay? 22% on our income. You know, whatever you buy, whatever you work, you pay. Even when you want to go and even you pay for everything. And when you go and purchase something, you pay in that on top of it. So it's the same.
So when you look at the people here, a lot of them, I presume, are going to be working. Do they look humiliated?
What does that mean?
No, subdued or humiliated. You know, where you make a person feel like they're inferior.
No, why to feel people inferior? No.
Yeah.
How is inferior? How is inferior?
No, what I'm saying is that what you just described there, you're going against Allah.
Is that how you find it?
Yeah, because Allah said you must make the feel humiliated when you take the jizya.
So you're taking jizya to humiliate people? This is what you think? What Allah say? I don't know. Read it.
For some reason, you're going to turn around and try to tell me that he's a prophet. And he's walking with 9-year-old children. Fuck out of here. I'm not stupid.
She's talking to
It's like me saying that Jimmy Savile's a fucking prophet. He said Jimmy Savile's a prophet. Jimmy Savile's a prophet. I'm sure he can speak to Jimmy Savile. Why is he not a prophet?
I'm from Somalia, yes, I am.
You have the land, respect, are you trying to prove to me? Are you trying to show me? Ethiopia! Come on, bro. God has 101 names. What about you? Invaded, my friend. You're taking over. I know you're saying. I tell you who cares. I'm not Catholic. I'm not Catholic. I'm not the devil.
So you see 929, Sagiruna. So notice there it says subdued, but exactly the same word is 7119 is humiliated, and 713 is the disgraced ones. So when you take jizya from someone, they're supposed to feel humiliated or disgraced. So if you take jizya from them, they're all happy and smiling. You have not done what Allah has said.
I don't know. I need to read the whole context and see how come it come to this conclusion that he humiliates them. You know, because whoever choose to go against God's law and God's messenger, and then they are not able to do anything, that humiliations that mean it's necessary for those people to make them under the rule of Islam, because the rule of truth. And this is how God wanted it. That's it.
Who's your dad? Do you know your dad? Yes, I do know my dad. You don't know your dad.
I don't care if you can pay them. I'm pleased that you love your child, and I'm pleased you've got businesses, I'm pleased you've got enough money, because that's a good start. Yes, I can't afford it. That's right. And I'll tell you why I can't afford it. I'll tell you why I can't afford
I have a lot of experience.
Yes. No. No, it does.
100 years ago. 100 years ago, you know what happened? In the Bible,
They used to be, look, there are cases. Look,
bring your evidence. Bring your evidence. Look by the 4-year-old. Bring your evidence.
Look, the verse that describes, look, the age parameter in Islam and in Quran is very.
okay. Point number one. Listen, can I ask you a question?
Parameter is
when is it okay from your side? You're coming from a specific angle.
So you're asking from a Christian perspective.
Yeah. When is the woman ready?
Okay, we haven't actually, in my perspective, dealt with what the Quran says.
Okay.
But if you wanna,
are you serious about that?
No, I have not responded. You just made.
Okay. Respond to what I just said about the preconditions.
So the point I'm trying to make is, in Surah Talaq, it's specific that you can marry girls who have not menstruated.
Social construct, wrong. You use girls.
No, there's one thing. No.
Okay, let's say women.
The word used, not menstruated. Hold on.
Women menstruated.
Look, one second. Okay. Just quickly.
Girls or women?
Women, these are women. You cannot call them girls.
Just 2 minutes.
Not coming of age.
Hold on.
Not reaching puberty is girls.
Okay. If I give you a tafsir,
no.
Like Ibn Kathir,
you can.
That would negate what you just said.
No, impossible.
You know the way you study Quran.
Especially the scholars.
Go back one step backward. Look, how the Quran makes logic is that Quran. I said this in the beginning. The Quran doesn't contradict itself.
Never.
One part of Quran doesn't contradict the other.
Never.
One part of Quran is saying that the age of getting married is balughas, which is, you wanna put it in years, maybe 12, 13, 14, 15, I don't know, but it's not
puberty.
8 or 9. This is puberty. Now, the other verse of Quran is talking about the Surah Talaq that you're mentioning, women who are not menstruated. It's not talking about, it's not talking about, God forbid, children. It's talking about
womanhood. We have to talk about women. You know, 100 years ago,
Prophet David, being 70 years old, married 12-year-old Abisha.
In nature, in the article, in nature's article.
That's not in the Bible, brother. Trust me, I don't.
Back then, 12-year-old, if a 12-year-old is turning into the age of an adult person, I understand we have the new legislation and everything and the world has changed.
Social constructs.
Yeah, social constructs.
It's a new social. You know, if you want to understand social construct, my brother, do you know what it is? It's this issue. You know the age. 100 years ago.
18.
100 years ago, a child, when they reached puberty, they were men or women.
14, 15. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
10, 11.
12.
They didn't have primary school. There was no such thing as primary school. This is a new social construct that they constructed it here in the Western world, and they're delaying. In fact, the Nature article, an article in Nature, which is a journal in biology, a professor known as Postman stated the fact that we have now, we have delayed the children from doing what they do from our social construct, and it will cause great harm in the society. They put it in
That's
nature.
what's happening.
And that's what's happening. That 12-year-olds are having sex. And there's some serious issues. They have no child, no father.
See,
running around.
we understand the hikmah in Quran, why it says that.
Yeah.
But the problem is that when you put it in the current modern Western civilization social construct,
exactly,
they say, oh, it doesn't fit there.
Exactly.
The stamp 80 needs to be there.
So why should we follow this social construct?
But you know one more thing. You know, it goes back to the same Hazrat Aisha.
Yeah.
Even with Hazrat Aisha, if you look at the age of Hazrat Aisha, and if you do some research, you will find out she actually was.
Yes.
Okay, you want to put numbers?
Careful, bro. She was 9 but she was a woman. She was not.
No, but then at the same time.
Here's the proof. When did Aisha radiallahu anha die? Let me ask. When did Aisha radiallahu anha die? Aisha radiallahu anha, when she died? 16? 16? Yeah?
I don't know.
Aisha radiallahu anha died at the age of 18. 18. 50% of our hadith come from Aisha radiallahu anha. No.
Oh, so that
50% of the hadiths that we have
come from
Aisha radiallahu anha. She was a scholar. She was a scholar of scholars. She was a scholar. Go and read. You know what they said about her? How we know psychologically she was ready? She was eloquent at the age of 9. But she was a woman. She was not. You know, the kings of this country, the kings of Africa, the kings of other places used to marry their children at the age of 7. And I'm talking about 150 years ago. I'm not talking about like 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. I'm talking about 150 years ago. The kings of Africa, the kings of China, they used to marry they used to marry 7, 8, 9. So this is a social construct
made by Britain.
So now you understand what social construct is. When you hear social construct, the first one to choose what is childhood. That is a social construct. That's what we're dealing with.
Find me the Bible verse. Find me the Bible verse when it says she was 12. You won't find it.
Look,
in his Bible, it says age of. You know what age of reasoning?
Michael, can you find me?
You can get married. You know
the
what age that is? They even put the age.
Where it says that you can divorce.
That's wrong.
But do you know what? Even
premenstrual girls.
Can I say something? You can go to tafsir again. One more thing. We all know. Ask any Muslim here. Everybody knows. Tafsir is not the word of God.
Okay, but
I don't know
would
what
that be
you're going to find.
Would that be problematic?
I don't know. I can write a tafsir.
Why is it? What's problematic? What is it that you're saying that is problematic? Like that?
The tafsir says that you can marry girls who who haven't had their menstruation.
No, yes, nikah, not consummation.
Engagement. It says engagement.
No, brother. Also, no, but there can be. Look, another thing. There can be women.
No, divorce. No, based on the iddah.
No, brother, you're not understanding the verse.
Iddah comes about when you're married.
Thank you.
When you're married.
And this is Surah Al-Talaq is talking about your iddah.
No, it's saying return. Listen, if you've made a contract, but she hasn't reached, then return, and you haven't touched her.
It's talking about the iddah, the waiting period,
yes,
in which you divorce girls who have not reached their menstrual cycle.
You're wrong.
Based on the tafsirs.
No, you're wrong. It doesn't say that.
But if I could find that, would that be problematic?
No, it's not problematic. Let me tell you why it's not problematic.
Okay,
what is womanhood?
What is womanhood?
Yeah, in your Bible.
Okay, so the Bible specifically says that in terms of a girl being married, it's based on the right of the father. It's based on the father's rights. When the father decides, the father decides, yes.
So she's 3 years old.
In First Corinthians.
She's 3 years old.
Show me one Christian man.
It's in the Old Testament.
One second. Based on the Bible,
it's in the Old
Testament. 1 Corinthians, it says that the father decides when his daughter is ready to marry.
So it's man, not her
father.
Yeah.
Decides.
So the father.
So show me.
What if she's not biologically ready?
What was it? Show me one father, a Christian father, that would marry their daughter at the age of 3.
I will show you.
Show me, God. Show me.
Henry VIII.
What are you talking about?
Was Henry VIII Christian?
Henry VIII had 8 wives.
And
so you're saying Henry VIII married his woman?
He's had many wives.
No, 1 second.
One of them, some of them were 7.
I'm not talking about marriage and divorce. Listen to the question. Listen to the question.
Is Henry VIII?
Listen to the question.
Is Henry VIII not the the deliverer of the King James version.
Listen to the question.
Do you use the King James?
So you're saying Henry VIII?
Do you use the King James?
No. Listen to the question.
You standard.
Answer the question. For the sake of this argument, I'm going to accept that King Henry VIII was a Christian. One second. For the sake of this argument,
he was a Christian.
Now, show me that Henry VIII married off his daughter.
No. He married
himself.
He married.
That wasn't the question, was it?
I've got 7%.
What was the question I said?
You said, show me a Christian father. And I said to you, I'm going to bring you a king who are supposed to be people that you follow.
I'm not asking about the king. Listen to the question.
Is Henry VIII Christian?
That's not the point I'm trying to make.
Is Henry VIII Christian?
Listen to the question, brother, please.
Okay.
Listen to the question. The Bible explicitly says in 1 Corinthians, the father decides when his daughter is ready to marry. That's my question. Now, you're going to have to show me a Christian man,
Henry VIII,
who married off his daughter. Because that's the question. If you're going to go and deviate it, you're not answering the question.
Okay, I'm going to show you.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, I'm going to show you.
Okay. So you're going to show me Henry VIII married off his daughter at the age of 3.
Yeah, listen. Listen to me.
Not who Henry VIII married. I don't care who he married.
Listen, look, my dear friend, wait, just, what's your good name?
Will.
Yes. Please, Will.
Okay.
Please, don't go down that route, yeah?
Listen to the question, please.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Henry VIII got married to a 7-year-old or down. She was a daughter of someone.
Brother.
Was she a daughter of someone?
How do you know her father was still alive?
You got her name.
No. How do you know her? How do you know
Sorry,
her?
could you open that? Sorry.
For the sake of this argument, how do you know even her father was still alive?
I will show you. They know the name. The pageants. Look, listen.
Okay,
Look. In 1396, negotiations started about marrying a 6-year-old Isabella to the widow Richard II, King of England.
Who negotiated?
The father, my dear friend.
Where does it say that?
This is Christianity.
It doesn't say that.
It's Christianity. Listen, 1367 to 1400.
Brother, come on, now you're lying. Show me where it says that. Don't just put your...
Who was 22 years her senior.
Brother, you just not showed me... Listen to the question.
You don't believe me. Do you know what this is? I'm going to show you what...
The father...
Do you know who was Isabella of Valois? She came from... You know who she was?
Listen to the question.
You know who she was?
Listen to the question.
She wasn't any ordinary... She wasn't a common folk.
You're not listening to the question.
Guess who she was?
You listen to the question.
She was a princess.
Brother, you listening to the question.
She was a princess.
Are you listening to the question?
She was a princess.
Are you listening to the question?
Will, I'm telling you, the Portuguese king married off his 6-year-old. Started negotiations at 6, but they married at 7.
Show me where it says that. That the king?
Yeah, Isabella of...
King. Okay, show me where it says.
Don't you know?
Okay, so let's go.
Yeah. I'm not. Listen, I'm not lying to you.
You wouldn't have got her married without...
Can you click on that, brother? Yeah. So here, look. But you know what? I don't go.
It's just a matter of finding if her father's will was...
Let's go. Look. If you go to see the references, they'll mess you up. And you know what? Will, your name is William.
Do you know what I'm asking?
And look, William. 2016 said it.
Brother, what am I
Williams,
asking? What am I asking?
You're asking who married. If the father
was involved or not.
Man, and I showed you a king.
Okay, you didn't. Okay, show it to me.
Look, listen.
Isabella of Valois.
Show it to me, brother, please.
We need to find Isabella's father, basically.
See that picture? See?
Okay.
Isabella.
Show me that her father agreed for her to be married at that age. Show me that.
So how could she get married without taking the...
Show it to me.
Listen, Duchess of Orleans, Isabella of Valois, Queen Consort of England.
Okay.
Yeah? Listen, I'm not lying, brother.
Okay.
You know
what was... Okay.
You can check it yourself.
What he's asking, how do we know her father allowed it? Okay, the thing is, could she get married without the permission of her father in that age?
It's impossible.
Okay, so let's just read the whole thing. Please. Isabella was born on 9th of November 1989 in Paris, France. She wasn't from Portugal, but anyway.
France. Actually, if you actually look, the Valois is Portuguese.
The second daughter of Charles, King of France. His wife.
You know what the problem is, Will, here, yeah? I'm telling you now, man, you're going down the wrong steps because...
6-year-old.
You know, I'm going to say something, Will.
Let me read it, brother.
I'm not attacking you, Will.
I'm just reading it. Let me read it, brother, please.
Listen to me, Will.
Let me read it.
Your great-grandmother, listen to me.
Let me just read it. Okay, you can make your point afterwards. I want to see something.
Will, 100%.
I want to see what age she got married.
Your great-grandmother Your great-grandmother, she was likely...
One second, brother,
She was likely 9, 10, 11 or 12. Like everybody else around the world, my friend. There was no such thing as teenagerhood.
The point where we started talking,
There was no such thing as
the
teenager.
Quran.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that
the time
when she was
getting married.
consummated.
No,
that was the
it's consummated
topic.
at 7.
That's what I'm going to read. Let me
They
just read.
negotiated at 6.
Okay, let's just see when she was
and
consummated.
got married at 7.
Okay, let's see.
You can check. You can check.
Look, you started with the
22
story.
years. He was 20. He was about 30. He was 35. Henry VIII, 35, 36. But he didn't live long, by the way. How long did he live? He had how many wives? One of.
You brought up the
seven,
verse of Surah. Read it.
Okay, so now you lied. Now you just lied.
Go on, please.
Because it says, went to Calais where the wedding ceremony was performed on the 31st of October 1396.
1396?
Well, let me just make my point.
And when was she born?
Brother, just listen, brother. Brother, just listen.
When she was born is there.
I've not even finished the conversation.
Sorry.
Okay. Brother, listen. Listen.
6 wives.
Brother, listen. But would not be consummated. Listen, brother.
7 wives.
You want to listen, brother? We can hear you.
Sorry, Will, sorry.
But would not be consummated at least until the bride's 12th birthday. So you lied.
Okay, wait.
No, 1 second. You said she was 7.
She was 7.
So you lied.
So wait a minute. Can I just show you something? Now I'm going to show you the marriage names.
So you lied. So you lied.
No,
You lied.
No, listen.
Did everyone here say that she was 7 when it was consummated?
Yes, it's 7.
Did you not say that?
She was 7.
Show you now.
Look.
Okay, show me where she was 6,
It says,
7.
hey, listen,
Go on.
but would not be consummated at least until the bride's 12th birthday. This is absolutely not true. In the 6th, look, watch.
Okay, go on.
Watch.
You're gone.
Isabella, 1389, and she actually died in 1409.
Yes.
Was the Queen of England and the wife of Richard III, the Duchess.
Yeah, so that means she died when she was 18. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so wait a minute. Look, she had been born as Princess of France as the daughter of King Charles VI.
So she wasn't Portugal's, but anyway, that's another lie. But
no, she's the Valos is Portuguese.
Anyway, it's not. But go on, carry on.
It is.
Go on,
It is.
carry on.
You have to do a bit more research. But anyway, continuing. In 1396, negotiations started marrying a 6-year-old widower.
Negotiations,
Richard, negotiations. Who was 22 years of her senior, to ensure the peace between the two countries.
Yeah.
The fact that she was a child was discussed, but King Richard said that each day would rectify that problem. That it was an advantage as he would be able to shape her in accordance to this ideal. And that he was young enough to wait. Isabella told the English envoys, that she was happy to be Queen of England, and she'd been told that this would make a great lady, and started practicing for the role.
Okay.
Right? Now, I'm going to show you, you know that reference? Watch.
Just admit you lied. Come on, brother.
No, astaghfirullah. Look, watch. Wait a minute. Isabella is,
It says it.
Listen.
It says it explicitly.
Look, wait.
I went with your source.
No. 1409. Wait a minute, Sir John. Isabella was buried in Boivin, the Abbey of St. Maur in 1624, wrapped in bands and life-flated in the mercury.
She died when she was 18. No problem.
Her remains were being transferred to.
When does it say?
The second most important burial site. I'm going to show you. Now, remember, where did you see the 12? Wait a minute. I'm going to show you that that's actually not true.
Brother.
Sorry, wait. 1 second.
You're making stuff up.
No. It's in your.
It says it right there.
It's in all your books. Age of 7. Age of reasoning is 7. According to your book.
What book? What book are you talking about?
The Catholic Bibles. Check it.
Brother, I'm not a Catholic person.
Oh, okay. So
listen.
Are you Protestant?
I believe in the Bible. I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ.
Which Bible do you read? Because we'll go to that one.
Where does it say that you can marry when you're 7?
Okay.
Show me that Bible.
I will show you.
Show me that Bible.
Which book do you use?
Any translation.
Okay.
Of all the English translation.
Yeah.
And none of them said 7. But hold on, before we go there.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
1 second. Before we go there.
No, we're going
to admit.
No.
1 second.
Not lie.
Okay, 1 second, brother. 1 second.
Wait.
Before you run. Do you admit? 1 second.
Okay, watch.
Brother, don't just run quickly. Because now you're running. You're jumping. 1 second. 1 second, brother.
Isabella was age 6, was married to Richard in October 1396.
Brother.
1396.
Now you're being disingenuous now.
No, listen, 7th. Listen to this. Wallahi, it's 7. She got married on 7. Listen to this. Was married in England in October 1396. You know the actual sources. If you actually go and look at the sources, she was married in 1396, a little over a week before her 7th birthday. The marriage was never. Listen, the marriage. She was married. The marriage was never consummated. Why? She died.
No. Okay. When did she die? When she was 18.
Where did it say that?
Brother, can you not do your maths?
No,
I can show you.
Was she married?
Brother, you said
consummated.
You're contradicting yourself.
No, your book says marriage. It's not my book.
Okay, 1 second.
I understand what consummation.
You just said. Okay, 1 second. This even helps my case. 1 second.
No.
This helps my case. 1 second.
Your books.
1 second. Calm down, brother. Wait, brother, calm down.
You said consummated.
I'm gonna bury what you just said.
No.
Okay, 1 second.
In the Bible, it was marriage.
We're still with this first.
Marriage. Do you read that?
We're gonna deal with this.
You know what?
Read it.
Don't jump. Don't jump.
Let's go back.
No, 1 second. Point number 1. Let's go slow.
Sorry.
Point number 1. Now you're my witness. You said to me.
It was
1 second.
married.
1 second. You said this isn't.
And you said it was a lie.
1 second. You are lying.
No, I'm not.
Can I respond?
She was married.
Calm down, brother.
Not consummated, but marriage.
Calm down, brother.
Go to the source. Go to the sources.
Brother, he just lied. So let me.
No.
Let me respond.
You are. It's abysmal, bro.
Let me respond then.
Will.
Can I respond?
Did she get married at 7?
Can I respond?
Did she get married at 7?
I'm gonna respond now.
Did she get married at 7?
If you let me talk, I will respond.
Don't tell me about consummation, because you don't believe in that. We believe in that. The Muslims believe in that.
What are you talking about?
The consummation, the understanding of consummation is clearly set out in the Quran and Sunnah. But it's not in your Bible. She was married.
Says who? What are you talking?
Your sources.
Your sources. He just brought up.
Listen.
She was married.
Let's do one thing at a time.
Okay.
Yeah? We can get to the Bible.
You don't want to accept
you're
the sources.
jumping all over the place.
No, you don't want to accept the sources.
Let me respond then, brother. I've let you
consummated or married?
How long have I let him talk for?
Okay.
Be honest.
Okay, I'll step back.
Calm down.
Will.
For 2 minutes.
Okay. Look, it's all yours.
Point number 1. You said that she got married at 6 and consummated at 7.
Yes.
1 second.
Yes. True.
No, okay.
Historically true.
Now, 1 minute. Now you're saying it wasn't consummated because she died before she got married.
No.
That's what you just said.
No. I said she met. Before they could get together, she had died, and she couldn't join him here. But the marriage was legal.
Listen to the
marriage was legal. At 7, no one could touch her. And it was marriage.
Brother,
she was even referred to. Guess how she was referred to? The Queen of England.
Queen of England.
Brother.
She was the Queen of England at the age of 7.
The Queen of England.
Brother.
If she wasn't.
He didn't touch her because he was in war.
Brother, listen to the point.
Richard II.
Brother, just listen, brother. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, 1 second. Point number 1.
Who's lying, Will?
Brother, let's calm down.
Let's brother.
Calm down.
Okay, Will, go ahead.
Yeah?
But please.
Let me talk then. Let me talk.
Don't say I lied though.
You did lie. So let me talk. So this is what you said.
Brother, the sources are there.
And I hope, listen, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get him to rewind at the point when you literally said she got married at 6 and consummated at 7. 1 second, let me talk now. One second.
Got married. I agree.
1 second, let me talk, brother.
Maybe you misunderstood it. Maybe you understood, but it's marriage.
You said she got married at 6,
7,
and consummated at 7.
And now he has the audacity. He has the audacity to talk about Aisha when she was a woman.
Did I mention Aisha?
No, but this is your point, man. Come on.
Have I mentioned Aisha?
Don't be disingenuous.
Have I mentioned Aisha?
Will, this is where you're going, man.
Have I mentioned Aisha? Be honest. Have I mentioned Aisha?
The main question.
Have I mentioned Aisha?
No, you haven't.
So why did you mention Aisha?
No.
I'll tell you why. Shall I tell you why?
I never mentioned Aisha.
I know, because your point is you're trying to use the Quran to state on us.
He was going towards Aisha for.
No.
I wasn't going there.
It's even more evil. It's more evil than that, bro. He's actually trying to say that in the Quran, it's inciting us to go to pedophilia and stuff like this. This is a lie.
Let me make my point.
This is the biggest lie from his human construct, yet in his own books, in Will's own books, that he refuses to tell me which version of the Bible that he uses, because in the Bible itself, age of reason is age of 7. And you know what the age of reason in a legalistic situation, it means a lot of things.
Brother,
but Will,
you're lying upon lies now. You're making it worse for yourself.
Will,
you're making it worse for yourself.
Will, Isabella was 7 when she got married to the Queen of England.
Let me respond to that.
The Queen of England.
Can I respond to that now, please?
Consummation.
Can I respond to
you
that?
You don't believe in that.
Can I respond to that, please? Can I respond to that, please? Now, your very words, she got married at 6, consummated when she was 7. Let me finish. Okay. Now, from the same source, the king did not want her to be married until, didn't want it to be consummated until at least, 1 second, until she was at least 12. Anyway,
Was she married?
Let me make a point. The point of the matter is, she died at 18, and the marriage still wasn't consummated. So it negates your whole point. 1 second. When I said that it's not one father,
I'll show you others.
Not one father
I'll
that
show
would
you others.
let his daughter, at the age of 6, 7, 8, or 9, allow them to have a marriage and have it consummated. Now, if you're talking about contract, listen, I understand. In the monarchy in Europe, that they used to negotiate. Their kids from the age of 2, 3, 4 negotiate marriages.
Yes. No.
Negotiate marriages from the young.
There's other clues. I just brought you that.
1 second.
Because it was England.
They used to negotiate.
I just brought that here.
Well, but you don't want to.
Will, but listen, let's go back to the Quran.
France.
Brother,
do you understand my point I'm trying to
was-
make? Michael, do you understand the point I'm trying to make?
Is France a Christian country?
Brother,
is France a Christian country?
No. So the very person that you brought up, Isabella, she got that marriage wasn't consummated, was it?
Oh my God. Was she married? Was she married? Was she the Queen of England?
They didn't consummate the marriage. So from a biblical perspective, if the marriage is not consummated, 1 second. If the marriage is not consummated, it's not marriage. It's not marriage.
No, but okay. But hold on. The word Queen of England. Okay. Where did the word Queen of England come from, brother?
Yeah, go on. What's that?
Queen of England.
Now,
I will bring
second point. You said that in the Bible, the age of reasoning is 7.
Yeah.
Now show it to me.
Okay. Now, can I use a phone? Sorry.
You can use my phone.
I've got 70% on mine, and probably it will die as soon as I open it.
No problem. Now remember the claims.
Age of 7. Yeah.
The age of reasoning in the Bible.
I'm going to mention
is 7.
After this, we're going to return to Quran. Because this is what I think we're going too far from the main topic.
So do you accept Isabella? She never consummated a marriage all the days of her life, and she died at age 18.
Right? Are you
do you
ready?
accept that?
Are you ready?
No, I'm just saying. Do you accept that?
But listen. This is Christian. This is Christian source, and I'm going to give
it has to be the Bible, yeah. Whether that's 66 books, 73 books, or even 83 books of the Ethiopian.
The church. Listen.
I don't care about anything outside of those books in the Bible.
From this, I'm going to give you some research here, because I can't do your research for you.
Yeah? It's not in the Bible. But anyway,
listen, please.
Okay, go on.
The Bible and the collections of the Bible was done in Nicaea, the meeting in Nicaea.
That's wrong, but anyway, go on.
The
Council of Nicaea had nothing to do with the canon of the Bible.
It is. Come on,
go on.
I mean, you know who you can fight with, not me. You can fight other Christian sources and other scholars of Christianity. They say that.
The Council of Nicaea had nothing to do
with the collection
of the books of the Bible.
Good God.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So this particular council came together to agree certain books and discard some what is known as heretical books. They came and gave you the types of
not in the Council of Nicaea.
All right. So anyway, the church does not define the age of reasoning as 7 years old. Rather, the church does not obligate Catholics under the age of 7 to observe laws. Why they mention age of 7, age of 7, age of 7? Listen to this. To observe laws which are merely ecclesiastical. Even once the age of 7 is attained, children who do not possess the use of reason generally are not bound. You know what they're saying here? They're saying if the child at the age of 7 has the reasoning ability, which is really knowing the right from wrong, then they are legally ready. Now, I will go, let's find out. You know, there's whole books written by Christian scholars where they actually bring this, the enlightenment included a range of ideas centered on the value of human happiness, natural law, liberty. Okay.
You're impartial, yeah? But have you heard the name of one book in the Bible?
Yeah.
He's quoted.
Wait. Listen, but
or one chapter
it's
or
Christian
verse.
sources.
Okay.
That's the problem. See, this is where you bring. You were bringing tafsir. You were bringing tafsir. It's the same thing.
Yeah. No problem. Okay. The age of
for us, tafsir has
the age of.
What did you say when I mentioned tafsir?
Look,
what did you say?
The age of reason.
No, what did you say?
This is where we're trying to make the point.
Okay,
the age of reason.
The point we're trying to make.
Look, this is your phone.
After all of this,
the age of reason.
Okay, go on.
There's a book called The Age of Reason.
Notice I'm being quiet. Let them talk.
Okay, well, The Age of Reason, investigation of true and fable theology to work in English and American political activist Thomas Paine, arguing of the philosophical position of deism. It follows that the tradition, 18th century, the British deism, and the challenge institutionalized religion and the legitimacy of the Bible. It was published in 3 different parts. 1 second. Let me just.
Michael, have you heard a book of the Bible yet? Being mentioned.
Let's find out why they said it.
That's not tafsir.
Or chapter or verse.
Okay, if you wanna listen.
Let's find out.
Be consistent, brother. Be consistent.
Let me bring the Bible. Why did they say it?
Yeah, exactly. Give me a chapter or verse, or a book in the Bible. Then I'll concede the whole argument. And if you can't, then you're lying on the Bible.
Age of Reason. The Age of Reason.
Brother, you just said in my Bible, the age of reasoning is 7.
No, the Christians, what Christians believe.
No, you didn't say, you said the Bible.
No, I said the Christians believe. I said the Christians believe. Where is it based from? If the Christians believe it.
A Bible verse, that's a tafsir, isn't it?
Yeah, okay, give me a Bible verse, please.
Okay. Do you believe in the Old Testament?
Yeah, any book of the Bible, Old or New Testament.
Okay, good. I'm so happy you said
Tafsir is basically, tafsir means interpretation.
Yeah, I know, that's what he's trying to find. That's what he's looking for.
He's just given you the Christian sources. Look, listen, the point we're trying to make here, I think we're missing the point here. Bill, the point we're trying to make here is.
1 second.
We know what the truth is.
No, 1 second. He made a position. He made a position, brother.
Hold on.
1 second. He made a position. If I made a position about the Quran and I said the Quran says X, you would want me to prove it from the Quran, wouldn't you not?
You can find many Christian sources.
No. Would you not? Thank you. So he's made a position about the Bible.
Okay.
And I'm saying that he needs to prove it from the Bible. No.
Okay.
What's a Christian source?
I'm going to Christian. You said I said
Old from Testament. The Bible. The Bible is our only source.
And Old Testament is included.
Old and New Testament, no problem.
Okay. 1 second. I'll bring it. 1 second.
And if he hasn't, you have to call him out and say he's wrong. Even though he's your Muslim brother. 1 second.
Yeah, of course he will. Of course
you have to be consistent.
Of course he will.
No, I'm absolutely not being biased. I'm just trying to make the point that the point we were trying to make.
So do you accept the first point that he made about Isabella? Yeah. Consummating the marriage at 7 was wrong.
No. I said married.
It's not wrong.
Married. I said married, and I will admit that I said married and consummated, but married. No, but I did say married.
Was Isabella called the Queen of England?
I was talking about marriage.
Listen,
how could she be called the Queen of England if the marriage didn't happen?
It had to happen.
It's very simple. It's very simple. How could she be called?
And it was a normal. It was a normal thing.
Look,
it was a normal thing.
How could she be called the Queen of England?
I have no problem with the monarchs negotiating marriages for their children at a young age.
No, it was.
That's
common.
not my problem. I have no problem with
it.
It
was common.
I have no problem. I don't have a problem with that. Okay? Yeah, because they want to keep a royal bloodline. Yeah, no problem. But my claim was that none of them would allow their children, their daughters, to be married at 9. And you said I was wrong, and you used Isabella as your argument to say, well, I was wrong.
Okay. Okay, wait a minute.
Isn't that how it went? Be fair.
I'm just waiting for that.
So, how old was Mary? According to the Bible.
The Bible doesn't say.
We don't believe that.
Yeah, the Bible doesn't say. But it says she was a woman. It was a woman. It said, blessed are you among women. So that means she wasn't 12.
Brother, can I make one point here though?
By the way.
Can I look?
Yeah,
I was talking to you about the specific verses that describes the age restriction of when you can get married. And I tried to explain it as much as there's 2 verses. One was mentioned by yourself, the other one was mentioned by me. Surah Talaq was mentioned by yourself, which I interpret. What according to how you study Quran is that the place where it mentions the woman without menstruation doesn't mean, God forbid,
listen to this.
Children.
Listen to this. Listen to this. So Sarah, the life of Sarah, this makes Isaac 37 years old, and at the time Rebecca was born. He waited for her until she would be fit for marital relations, 3 years, and then married her.
At what age?
So he
That makes it
fit. She would be fit. Now fit.
Is it, you reading that from the Bible?
Yeah, fit.
You reading
Now,
that from the Bible?
No, this is a source.
I know, of course.
Rabah.
I know.
It's Rabah.
What source?
This is it not Rabah 57:1?
What's Rabah got to do with anything?
Okay.
Who's Rabah?
Wait a minute. This is no. This is the Talmud, the Genesis.
Brother,
this is Genesis.
Listen to my question.
No.
Listen to my response.
Wait,
show me anywhere in the Bible.
Genesis.
One second. In the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the passage.
Yeah.
That very passage where Isaac marries Rebecca.
This makes Isaac.
Okay. So go to that passage. and let's see
he was
the
37.
context.
He was 37 years
Let's see
old.
the context, whether she was 37 and whether Rebecca was 3. Let's do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
No.
Should we do that? I think that's fair.
Listen to what he said. Look, this makes Isaac 37 years old at that time.
Okay.
Rebecca was born. So when she was born, he was 37.
Okay. Do you want to go to the passage?
He waited. It says Genesis 57:1. Can you go to it?
Do you want to go to?
Could you? Because this is saying.
I don't think it's.
It says
Genesis 57.
from Genesis 57:1.
Genesis 57.
This is what it says there. Genesis. Now, yeah.
If it's the matter of just finding the sources, I mean, we can be standing here and finding the sources, and
and there's another one. There's another one. Genesis 23:1. Rabbi Solomon, and his comment on Genesis says that Rebecca, when she was married to Isaac, was but 3 years old. This is the Torah.
The thing is,
it's not my. Look, listen.
I know, but the problem is that rabbi was wrong, and we can actually prove it from
You know what? You can't say things like that. You can't say things. You can't say. Brother, he's a scholar. He's a scholar. But he's a scholar.
Yes, but he's wrong.
We believe.
We can prove it.
They have created image in the book. That's the image, right? What we believe.
No, but
Quran. This is another prediction of Quran coming true. Quran talks about. Quran says, Surah Kahf, start of. Surah talks about crookedness outside Quran.
Gentlemen,
it talks about the other scriptures.
Please forgive me, right? My wife is calling me, and you know, the Minister of Interior, you cannot get angry. If the Minister of Interior, the wife, gets angry, I will not eat, and I will have many issues.
Okay, but anyway, let me just tell you.
I did not lie.
Okay.
I
You're mistaken.
I will concede that I mistaken the consummation, but she was married. But I can bring you. There's several. You know, us. You know, my grandmother.
Is that you?
She was 12 years old when she was married, and she had 20 children. My grandmother. I will say to you that your great grandmother, your great grandmother. There was no such thing as teenagerhood. When she became, what's your name? Muhammad. Yeah.
Muhammad, is that your camera? So
no, it's not. Is
that your camera?
No.
Is that your mic?
So
I don't know. I think it's the mic of the camera.
So Will, please forgive me.
No worries, brother. Nice talking to you. What's your name?
It's Muhammad.
How often do you come here?
You don't even come. I live in Sheffield. I just came to say hello. And
shame. Very nice talking to you.
It was a pleasure.
Will, when you come down again,
look into the Quran.
Brother, I've read the Quran. I've read the Bible.
No, but
and I would love to have a conversation.
Take off your glasses when you read it.
Brother, I've read.
Because the colour.
Seriously. Brother, seriously, I would love to have a conversation. Are you going to be down again?
Yes.
Next time, God willing.
I'll come. I know you're always
here.
here.
We'll talk. Yeah, God willing.
But Will, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on.
When you read the Quran with a pure heart.
I've read the Quran many times.
With a pure heart.
I hope I have a pure heart, but yeah, many times.
With a pure heart on it.
By the way, have you read the Bible?
Of course I have.
Not all of it, I know.
No, you know what? I had put it down for like 23 years, but I used it. I even sat down with one of the scholars. Listen to this. He was a scholar, a Christian scholar, and I nearly fell on the floor. I couldn't believe what he was saying to me.
What was he saying?
Brother, I swear to you, I swear to God, I met him on a Wednesday evening about 25 years ago, and he sat down. He brought with him 3 other scholars from 2 from an American church, and he himself came down. And I didn't know they had a scholar upstairs waiting in St. Peter's Church in East Ham. I just came there as an innocent person to explain to them what the Quran is, and that they should come to Islam.
With the long hair.
What he said to me, he showed me the Bible, and he said, this is wrong, we don't believe in this, we don't believe. I said to him, you're telling me all of this from the Bible, and you expect me to come to your religion when you're telling me all of these are
that's problematic.
wrong.
That's problematic.
You know, My Quran is not like that.
Well, you can get. I know many Muslims. Hold on a second.
Contradictions.
No, many Muslims who would reject the hadith. I'm sure you don't reject all the hadith.
Yeah.
But there are many Muslims who reject all the hadith.
Yeah.
And it will be Quran only.
Yeah, but isn't that?
Listen, what I'm saying is.
Aren't they called the Quraniyun?
Quran only, yeah. But what I'm saying is, you would not. Sorry, me.
I've got to.
Yeah, no problem. Nice talking to you.
Will, it was a pleasure, and I will try to look out for you guys
again. We'll do it again, no problem. God bless you.
The Christian and the Muslim, we should find the owner.
Yeah, I know the owner.
You know?
Yeah.
I just turned it off because I thought maybe I need to.
Yeah, no, I'll find him.
But long story short, nice talking to you. No, but the conversation went in completely other direction.
Yeah.
It's not, the whole point is how I am being described to conversate with other people is not just for the sake of having an argument.
Yeah, of course.
I'm wrong.
Do you think that was my position? Do you think I was argumentative in any way?
No, you were being quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, but the problem is that when there's too many people standing and there's words coming from different directions, it becomes very difficult, and you lose the track.
Of course.
And you go
all over the place.
You all over the place. But if are you still here? You're gonna come back next week? Or?
Yeah, God willing. Yeah, hopefully I'll be back next week. Okay. We'll have a nice conversation. What's your name?
Javad.
Javad.
Yes. Javad Ahmed. Yes. Nice to meet you. It's my first time I came here. I don't normally. Yeah. I just.
Stay away from the crazy people.
Oh yeah. I know. Crazy. Just stay away, man. This is the whole point. But you know, just now in my country, this is whether I. Because I didn't understand. But anyway, nice seeing you, brother. Inshallah, see you. I'll see you next week. Take care, bro.
Yeah.
I'll see you then. Take care.
All right. It's not that. So, one of a Ben session or a bit
I saw what's his name, a young kid.
Yeah, I saw him over there. No, he was talking to Naz.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah, he was just over there.
I'd love to get him to sound.
You're going to kill me, but you don't get the truth. But to be honest, now their time is over.
They're trying to they like taking people to the pub or it's just he was speaking to Naz, then he disappeared again. So he seems to. Yeah, because it's like, I don't know if someone was trying to talk to him like away from the park. That's why he was away for a bit of time. Then he came back. I mean, that's him.
So I'm just
yeah, he said no straight away. It was straight ahead.
Oh yeah, I want to sit. Maybe they have a trinitarian conversation now. Yeah.
Right. So what it means is that Jesus.
So not naturally children.
I don't know, it's metaphoric, we're all children of God. Which member of the Trinity are we the children of? The Father, or the Son, and the Holy Spirit?
We're not children.
You have to be the Father.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're
No, I know it's metaphoric.
We're adopted. And God gives us the spirit of adoption.
Yeah.
So the Holy Spirit, what is in us, and that's God in us, gives us assurance that we are adopted children. And no one is natural. Because Jesus says in John 3, flesh gives birth to flesh. People are just flesh. The Spirit gives birth to spirit. You need to be born again. Do you see? You say people at the corner.
Where it says not flesh.
You know his question, who are we children of? The Trinity.
Oh yeah, so we're adopted. We're adopted into God's family. So, and God puts the spirit of adoption in our heart. So God adopts us into his family. So that's what I'm just quoting the Bible.
Yeah, but the Bible says that Jesus was the firstborn of many brethren, of many brothers. So Jesus, Jesus.
Oh, so you're quoting, what are you quoting?
That's Romans. Oh no, it could be Hebrews, yeah. Firstborn of many brothers is.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, that's Hebrews. Yeah.
That's not literal.
Oh, have you got some light?
I do. That's not a literal thing, right?
You're quoting Hebrews 1.
No, that's not Hebrews 1.
I think it isn't.
No,
I think it isn't Hebrews 1.
That's first.
So what is it?
Creature. He's talking about the son.
We should become firstborn. We should become firstborn of many brothers. I think it's Romans.
Yeah.
It's just a glorified position, that's all. Become the sons of God.
Oh yeah, so this is Hebrews. God spoke in the past through the prophets, and many times in his last days he's spoken just by his Son. He appointed heir of all things.
Yeah, it's Romans 8.
Right, I get
8:29.
Through whom he made the universe. The Son is the radiance of God's glory, the exact representation of his being.
This is what it says.
I've forgotten your name.
Connor, it's my fake name.
So this is what it says, yeah?
So the Son is the exact representation of his being. So what's this?
Oh, he wants to get his right?
Oh, sorry, boss. Sorry.
So this is Romans.
It says Romans 9. I mean,
Romans 9.
You might not appreciate this translation. It says that God knew them before he made the world, and he chose them to be
Romans
like
8:29.
and he chose them to be like his Son, so that Jesus will be the firstborn of many brothers and sisters.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean it's a creation. Because the Bible says that in the resurrection we will be like Christ.
No, one
so
second.
that's to be saying that like Christ has God has preordained some of us to be like Christ.
Okay, what am I saying?
Yeah, so Jesus might be the firstborn among many brothers.
Okay, so
Jesus is before all things.
Yes.
Jesus,
no, one second.
With God, it is God.
And the title there, firstborn, is simply one of glorification. David is the firstborn, but it's not the literal firstborn.
Let's go slow. Let's go a bit slow. Brother, let's not shotgun. Let's just remember the point of the question was, he said that we are sons of God.
Yes.
And so look, the Bible doesn't say we shall be sons of God.
It does.
Exactly. So
we're adopted.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Sure. Adopted sons of God. So who's that God we're sons of?
God.
The Father, Son, and Spirit. All three persons.
No, listen to what you're saying.
So okay, I think the problem here
let me just respond, please. You don't think I understand the Trinity?
You don't, because I asked you to explain it and you will be able to explain it.
I don't think anyone really. There are many models of the Trinity.
It's this simple. There is one God, right? But then there are three persons in the God. What do we mean by persons? We don't mean individuals. We mean substances, right? Because it comes from the Greek. Hypostasis, the substance, right? So there are three underlying realities to God. However, here's the interesting part. All of the three substances are equal to the one God.
Does the Bible teach this?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
right?
show me where the Bible. Because what you just said. Show me where the Bible teaches.
Okay, so we get this from the Bible. Okay, so
show me.
Jesus says,
Show me.
I and the Father are one.
Do you want to go to that passage?
Understand that.
Do you want to go to that passage?
Yeah, so
I am in the Father.
Okay, do you want to go to that passage?
We are one.
Okay, so 1 second.
17, I believe.
Let me respond.
John 10.
Oh, John 10?
Please don't do this. Don't shotgun, and let me respond to his passage. So hold on 1 second. So Jesus in that same book.
I wasn't done with the Trinity, by the way.
Okay, 1 second, because he quoted John.
I wasn't done with the Trinity.
Okay, but he came in. So let me respond to him. So he says in that same book. 1 second. In the same book.
Are you recording?
I'm not.
No, I'm not recording. Is in that same book it says that.
This is chapter 10.
It's in 1 second. 1 second.
No, it's just you moved on from 10.
Yes. Right, well, yes. You've got to finish 10. No, I'm going to finish 10.
The Father's in me, and I'm in the Father.
Let me just in that same very book, in chapter 17, it says that they may be one, the disciples, just as we are one.
No.
Yes, that is correct. John 17:21. It debunks that verse.
One in us.
I and the Father are one is not.
Okay, so
Jesus God.
No, 1 second.
And you said there's only God. So the Bible's quite.
Yeah, he is.
I was speaking to him. I know you think that.
The same word one. 1 second. Your translation has intentionally mistranslated it because it's the same one. The same one in John 10:30. 1 second. Do you want me to prove it to you? Do you want me to prove it to you? 1 second.
No.
No. You're being your translation is mistranslating it. Use the same word one. They may be one,
if he was
just
the
as
only true
we are
God.
one.
Why would he say and Jesus Christ, for
so
example?
we understand
if
that
I've got to know
oneness,
the only true God,
not
I've got
to
to
be
know
an
an
essence.
additional
You don't
thing
believe
to the
that all
only
the
Jesus
disciples
Christ. So that if it's an additional
shared the
thing,
same
it means it
essence,
isn't
had the
him.
same mind,
and so
had the same will.
If
You don't
Jesus
believe
was
that,
the only true God, then therefore when he said
So just
that he may know the only true God, that would include himself. But no, he has to have an additional thing that is Jesus Christ, which means he isn't the only true God.
Jesus said, "I'm not coming to do my own
a second thing other than the only true God.
Right, so it didn't say that the Father was the only true God alone.
No, that's not my point.
So the Father is the only true God, but so is the Son and the Spirit.
Yeah, it's the fact it says an additional thing. That is the fact that it says and Jesus Christ.
Right, so
right after, which is my problem.
The Father is distinct from the Son, but not separate. Right? So it's okay to say the Father, the only true God, and Jesus Christ who you sent, because in that sentence he is talking from the incarnation, right? And economically in the incarnation.
Economically?
Yeah, economically. Sorry. In terms of role in the incarnation, we are aware that he has humbled himself to the point where he is a servant, or in the form of a servant, like Philippians 2:7 says, right? But then that doesn't negate the idea that he's God, because like the disciples, like Thomas, looks him as God when he resurrects. That's when they come to the full realization that he is God. And then they in Acts 1, they ask him again when the kingdom will be restored, right? But previously in like Matthew and Mark, when the story of him knowing the hour is told, right? He says, no man knoweth the hour, not even the Son. But then they ask him again, because they realize that he is now like fully divinized in a glorified body, and that he's returning to his Father. And if he's not God, then there's no way that like he can say all things that belong to the Father belong to me. So like that's enough for me to prove that he literally is God. He has the divine names of God, the divine attributes of God.
What names?
And,
what names?
The Alpha and the Omega, for example, the first and the last Messiah.
The first and the last. Jesus says some will be first and the last in Mark 9:39.
Right, but he doesn't. So some will be. So the first will be the last, and the last will be the first. Right? He's not saying that they will be eternal in the same way he is. He calls himself the first and the last to mean that he's the beginning and the end of all things. Right? But no other creature can bear that name but him. So I don't see how you can have that reality but still not realize that he is God.
I guess he was the firstborn.
Right, but the firstborn is not a literal thing. It's like a term of glorification. David is called the firstborn, but he isn't the literal firstborn of Jesse. Can you hold that back? Yep. Sorry. David is called the firstborn, but he isn't the literal firstborn of Jesse. Israel, who was Jacob, is called the firstborn. But we know that Esau, so him and Esau were twins, but Esau came out first, and then Jacob came out grasping to his ankle.
Yeah.
So and Jacob or Israel is called the firstborn. So the firstborn doesn't mean the first created necessarily. It can also be like a title of glorification, which is why Christ is called the firstborn from the dead and the firstborn of creation.
So would you say that God's being unclear then by using the term firstborn?
No, so God is not being unclear. We hold the view that, for example, that this is written by man, right? But inspired by God. So this is written by man, what we should then do is understand what the people who wrote it at that time understood by the text.
David.
And so a great thing that we can do is read the font, for example.
I'm going to go home now.
Okay?
Yeah.
Honor? We'll carry this on later.
I'm not going to be coming next week nor the next week after. I don't know if I'm going to be coming for a long time.
Are you bored of the corner?
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay? I would not say he's being unclear, no. Just that there is words change, right? There are no eternal words. The meaning of things change over time. So it's important that when we read any text from a certain period, that we at least understand how the people of a time understood it. And one good way of doing that is by looking at the direct disciples of the disciples and what they wrote concerning Christ being the firstborn.
Right. So then couldn't they have used a different term for firstborn?
So there would be no term that they can use that at some point in the future will not take on a different meaning.
Okay, but then now we're in the future, so could you come up with a better term?
So I can come up with a term today.
Yeah.
But then so I can say preeminent, for example, today, right? So to mean that God is before everything and he has a providence or power over everything. But how do I know that in 20 years time preeminent won't become a slang term for somebody who's really good at basketball?
Oh no, but what we're after is a more technical term. Because like you say, slang terms can change, but technical terms generally don't.
They do. For example, predestination. Right?
Yeah.
Like in the early church, it was understood to mean God's providence over all reality, but now we take it as God determining things before they happen.
Right, okay.
Yeah, complex words continue all the time. So I would say that like we don't have to argue the idea of God being quote unquote clear in his speech, right? All we can simply do is always just refer back to history and how the early church understood the words. I think that'll be fine for us.
Okay, so the main thing I'm after is knowing how preeminent and firstborn, how they can be interchanged.
So preeminence is like a modern term that we can use to encapsulate the idea of what firstborn means relating to Christ, right? So I pointed to the example of Jacob and David being the firstborn, as I'm sure you're aware in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
That is that definition technically is incorrect for them because they are literally not firstborns. So they are firstborn in some kind of analogical way, right? Like they are, God's chosen or like God's preferred, whatever you want to call it, right? So that's how we apply that to human beings. Now, when we look at Christ, who we hold to be God, and we call him the firstborn, how do we then apply that to the firstborn of all creation and the firstborn from the dead? How do we then apply that definition of a firstborn to someone who's now divine? And we understand how to do that by the way the disciples spoke about it and the way their disciples spoke about it. So like the early fathers, for example. That's my main point.
Okay, so someone who's divine, they can't be born.
Right, so
I'm asking you.
Yeah. So someone who's divine, right? The divinity cannot be born, right? In the same way that David could not literally be the firstborn child of Jesse. In the same way that David,
I know what you're saying, because he was
he was like second to last or whatever. Yeah, he was all the way down there. Yeah.
Right, but in terms of using a more direct meaning of the word firstborn, can that happen to someone divine?
In terms of using a more direct meaning,
I'm gonna go.
Okay, all right, not a problem. See you next time, yeah? Sorry. In regards to someone using a more direct meaning of the word firstborn, can that be done for something divine?
Yeah.
I don't understand the part about a more direct meaning. I don't get that part. What does that mean?
No, firstborn means, you know what the word first is not the first.
Yes.
Yeah, not second, but first.
Okay.
And born means come out.
Not generically, yes, but it can mean other things as well. Because many words in English.
That's the simpler meaning.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
So literally given birth to?
Yeah.
So in English, as I'm sure you're already aware, most of our words have like a definitional meaning.
Yeah.
Right? And some words can have multiple definitions, but they also have a denotative meaning as well. So when you apply the word in a different context, it means something completely different. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think firstborn is no exception.
Right.
It can have a definitional. Do you mind if it's recorded or?
Yeah, no,
yep. Firstborn can have a definitional description, but also one that when you apply it to other things in other contexts, it can mean something different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you determine when to change it?
Depending upon the subject it's applied to. As an example, Adam Smith is regarded as the father of modern economics. Right? But we know that Adam Smith could not have inseminated a woman and she gave birth to modern economics. He's just the progenitor of the idea. But then if I say I am a father of a boy, then the context is different because now the subject is different. Right?
Okay, so that's good. So now, what you just said there, if we didn't apply that to what he says about the firstborn of all creation, which one would it be more appropriate?
So because the subject is not a regular human being like David, but it's someone who's divine, then what we apply it to then is that he is like preeminent over all creation. He is the cause of reality, like it says in John 1:1.
The creation is part of the subject.
So,
because it's all creation.
Right.
So that is what they're talking about.
The subject who is being described or ascribed that term to is Jesus, right? And before we even get there, we've already from reading the Gospels, we can basically come to the conclusion that Jesus is one in substance with the Father, right? So when we have that understanding and we're applying the term firstborn of all creation to him, then we're not applying it to mean that he is part of the created order, but he is the origin of the created order.
But then the firstborn term wouldn't make any sense.
It would if we understand the context at which you're applying it to. Because take for example the Psalms, right? Where we talk about God in relation to things that are human. We call God like a stone or a shield or a buckler or a mighty man of war or roaring fire.
Yeah.
And all those things are understood to be analogies for God, right? None of them are literal. So God is not literally a rock, because rocks are inanimate, right? And God isn't inanimate. God isn't literally a consuming fire, because fire is a created thing and God isn't a created thing. But there are analogies that point us to an understanding of who God is. So in the same way, firstborn is doing the same thing as the fire and the stone and the shield.
Right. I just want to go to the verse itself.
Sure. That's in, I think, like Hebrews 1, like 13 or something, or that's the first one of creation. And should I pull it up for you?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to put it
Is this the first one of creation and the dead, or just the one of because in Hebrews it also mentions him being the first one?
No. This is the one we're talking about. It was the Colossians.
Okay. Well, 1:15, I think.
Yeah.
I'm saying I didn't understand.
Howdy.
You carry on your conversation. Oh, sorry, you having a debate?
No, it's not a debate. It's a conversation.
You'll be recorded, yeah?
Yeah, I'll come back. Don't worry.
Sorry.
I'll come back. Don't worry.
Right, because 15 says,
yep.
Who is the image of the invisible God?
Yes.
So it says that he's the image of the invisible God.
Yes.
So
in his station as Jesus, yes.
Right.
So this is understood as talking about the incarnation of the eternal Word of God, right? So since we hold as Trinitarians that Jesus is of the same substance as the Father, then the fact that the eternal Word of God has taken on a human nature, which can be seen, felt, and touched and heard, that is how he is described as the image, the perfect image, representation of the invisible God, sharing in the same divinity, but in the form of a man.
Okay, so but if we do this like how say the Muslims do it, they like to go, we give them a Quran verse,
yes,
and they'll the Quran verse is saying something obvious,
yep.
Then they'll go around the houses because they realize there's a problem with the verse.
Okay, so for us, we have something, for example, called the quadriga, right? And it's like a medieval document, right? That sort of like compiles how Christians read the Bible, right? Because I learned very recently, this is a small tangent, that Jews read the Bible very, very differently than Christians do, right? And because they have their own like books of tafsir, if you will, right? Their books of exegesis, right? We have our own as well. So inside of the quadriga, it tells us that when we talk about the Bible, we can do so from an analogical sense, right? So things are like analogies, a moral sense, moral lessons to be derived from the Bible, and agogical sense? Agogical sense, right? And then also there's like a last sense I'm completely forgetting, but it kind of like gives us like 4 ways in which you can read things that are in the Bible, right? So generally, according to that quadriga, when we talk about the things relating to God, right? When we make any description of God, it's an analogy. Because the actual word itself cannot capture the eternal understanding or magnificence of God.
Right, but these words you're reading, as far as we're concerned, they're inspired by the Holy Spirit.
Right, so they're inspired by the Holy Spirit, right? In that they are not like spelled out explicitly so that everyone will always get it, but they reveal truth. Exactly right. So that's why you are baptized and then you welcome the Spirit into your life, right? And then you read the fullness of the Scripture, and then the individual parts come alive in your understanding. So if you have the Holy Spirit, but you're just reading small sections of text and not the entire thing in its whole context, then I think you can potentially fall into error. Because what I would say is just very, very simply, from reading the 4 Gospels, you come to the conclusion that Jesus Christ is divine, and he's of the same substance as the Father. And then from that point on, anything else that's talked about him, it should be understood with that backdrop.
Right, but this is interesting though, because you keep saying that he's the same substance as the Father.
Yes.
So, but you're saying he's not the Father.
No.
But is he separate from the Father?
Not separate, only distinct. Okay, so separate is like a part, and distinct is distinguishable.
Yes, alright. So this distinction.
Yeah.
How would you or what's a general way of describing it?
The term itself, or how it applies?
No, how it applies.
Oh, absolutely. In terms of, like, for example, role within the Godhead, right? So, for example, the Father is thought of as being like the uncaused cause, right? Like, and then from the Father, you see the Son as being the begotten of the Father, or like, you know, like proceeding from the Father, but in an eternal sense, right? Okay, and that's unique to the Son and not the Father, for example.
But you're saying that's a role?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so how can someone get a role of being a son?
So it's not a literal human-like son.
We're talking about before humans came here. Right?
Yeah. So when you're using the term son, right? We're simply using that again as an analogy to just express the idea that you know, like Christ comes from the Father in the way that a son comes from a father.
Right. Okay. So you're saying that if someone tries to say, like the Jews.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember when the Jews were speaking, and I think it was to do with Abraham, and he says
before Abraham was there.
Yeah, and it says you're not yet
50 years old. No, you got it right. That's the right one.
No, because there's one specific one where Jesus gives them the understanding. They understand. Oh, that's right. Yeah, making himself equal with God. Yeah, so that particular one, you know, the one where they said the Jews are the ones who understood what Jesus said, and that was making himself equal with God.
Yep.
So those Jews, when they listened to what Jesus said, how would they have understood the term making him, he's saying he's God's son? How would they have understood that term?
In light of the Old Testament. And so that's
their knowledge as Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah, how would they have understood that term, what Jesus said to them?
In light of the Old Testament. So they would have understood it in the context of the understanding of God through revelation from the Old Testament.
Right. And so what, because remember, the important thing is, you say that those Jews were filled with the Spirit.
So they don't necessarily have to be. Maybe they were, I can't say for certain. What I would say is, let's just say they didn't have a spirit, right? They have the compiled knowledge of like 2,000 years of interaction and revelation, right? From the prophets and their ancestors, so to draw upon, even without having the spirits. So you don't need the spirit to, like, you know, read Daniel or Isaiah and understand that if someone says a certain thing about themselves, for example, if I came today and said I'm the first and the last to like a group of Orthodox Jews, right? Even without having the spirit, they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, that's my Isaiah. Like, are you saying you're God? So that's kind of how I would reason through that.
Because we're just going to go to it. So it's John 5 and 16. He says, and therefore did the Jews persecute Jesus and sought to slay him because he had done these things on the Sabbath day. But Jesus answered,
which good verse?
Answered them, my Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him. Because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, making himself equal with God. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, very verily I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but that which he sees the Father do.
Exactly, which is crazy.
For what things soever he doeth, he also doeth the Son likewise. So where it says there that they sought to kill him
because he said he was a son.
Making himself equal with God. So in their mind and understanding, how would they have seen that sonship?
So they would have seen the sonship in the context of before that he says, sorry, can I get for one second? Sorry. So wait, before, sorry, oh what? Is there a verse? Huh? Sorry, right, so they would have understood it in relation to what he said in 17. He answers them, my Father worketh hitherto, and I work, right? So when he calls himself the Son later, right, or when they get the idea that he's referring to himself as the Son, he has called God his Father and then proclaimed that he is working as God is working, right? And then later on he even adds on further that he can't do anything of himself, but he does only what he sees the Father doing, and that is making himself equal with God. Because now if God's performing an action, or the Father performing an action, he's saying that he can do the same exact action because he's learned it from the Father.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically claiming that you are God.
Right, but the important thing is that...
Like, a great thing is, like I like to do with the Muslims, for example, is I say, okay, fine, you don't believe me, replace the word God there with Allah, and the word Jesus there with Muhammad. And then see where that leads you.
Yeah, okay, I don't know.
Well, because now Muhammad will sound like a divine being who can do the work of Allah.
I don't know about that, but...
Try it and see.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So, the thing I'm mainly after is those Jews.
Yep.
So, whatever Jesus told them, they got the understanding into their head that he's a son.
From 17, because he called God his father, and said that God is working, and so is he.
Yeah, but my point is that that's how they saw it.
Yes.
But do you ever know of anywhere where Jesus corrected them and said that it's not a father-son relationship as they think it is? Because remember what I said about them?
Okay.
Because it doesn't say anywhere that the Jews were filled with the Holy Spirit until like the apostles got it on the day of Pentecost.
Okay. So I would argue that because he did not correct them on this, then since no one knows the hearts of man but God, and Jesus was able to read the hearts of the Pharisees who saw him healing the man who was disabled or the paralytic man, I would say that like if he didn't correct them, then that means that in their hearts they have the correct understanding of what he meant by God being his father.
Right.
That's my argument.
Okay, so going by what the understanding they got from Jesus, and him not correcting them, how would you then? So would you say then? You know when you're saying about they're of the same substance,
yes,
but they're distinct,
yes, in role,
yeah. So you're saying that this, in terms of this is. Would you say this is when he's human or all the time? You know, in terms of
I'm sorry, what? Sorry?
No, because you know, I know some Trinitarians, what they say is that some parts, when he's talking about him being the son, it's relating to when he's on earth.
Right.
But I don't know if that's how you see it, or is he son all the time?
Okay. So, analogically, yes, right? He's a son all the time, right? But those terms, Father, Son, and Spirit, only exist in order for human beings to be able to conceptualize who God is.
Right. Okay, so when it comes to, say someone's conceptualizing the Trinity not on earth, and they had to try to get into their mind somehow son.
They would use whatever the equivalent of like something coming from something else would be what they would use.
Oh, so but is that something that would have can be applied to the Trinity, that the Son came from the Father?
Yes, God, Christ literally says that in John 8. I came from the Father.
Okay, but when he says that, came from the Father, what do you understand that to mean?
To mean an eternal procession. So the Father is the on-cause cause, that's his role, and then eternally, so without time, the Son proceeds from the Father. So the Son comes from the Father.
Okay, but when you say eternally,
without time.
So does that mean that he was already out eternally, or he's coming out eternally?
So effectively, all it literally. So there's like a bit of disagreement on this, because like there's some people who say, "Oh, do you mean that like Christ is like eternally like escaping from the Father?" But no. Effectively, it's all in perfect language, right? So no language that we have can like perfectly capture it, but it can give us the idea. So when we use the word eternal, it just means without time, without beginning or end, right? So effectively, without beginning or end, the Son exists along with the Father, but in a sense where the Son comes from the Father. An analogy that we can use in our reality is when we strike a match and simultaneously we get light and heat. Like the light doesn't come before the heat, or the heat before the light, right?
Yeah, but you realize they're both the same thing. It's just,
sorry?
It's electromagnetic radiation.
Right.
So
they're the same in essence, right? But then they're distinct in role, right? Like the light doesn't necessarily mean there's heat, and heat doesn't necessarily mean there's light.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get light from a heater, and enough shine something, a light. If you shine the light bright enough or something, it's warm.
Sure.
So you get both things coming out of each. each source, essentially.
Right, but there's a distinction, right? So like heat is not light and light is not heat, but they have a similar essence to themselves, right? And that's what we would say about the Trinity. There is one divine essence, and then there's the Father and the Son, but they are distinct from each other in terms of role.
Right. All right. So the Son has the role of the Son.
Yeah. So being begotten from the Father, like coming down. Like so, any of the, for example, Old Testament like theophanies that we see, whenever God appears to people in like a way that they can see, angel of the Lord or burning bush or the pillar of fire, we take that to be the created effects of the Word of God, so Jesus Christ.
Right. So the interesting thing is, you know, when you're saying that they're of the same essence.
Yes.
So you're saying that this is.
So by essence, I mean existence of the one God. So the three substances are substances of the singular existence of the one God. But they are all equal to the one God individually, which is like the interesting thing about the Trinity.
Right.
So there's one essence, one existence, and of that one existence, there are three co-equal, like codependent substances of God. But all three don't equate to a third of God. All three equate to the whole of God. So the Son equates to the whole of God, the Spirit equates to the whole of God, and the Father equates to the whole of God. And there's nothing like that in our reality.
Right. Okay. All right. So you're saying that the Son equates. So the Son equates to the whole of God as well. So when the Son came down to earth, did he bring the whole of God with him?
Right. So the Son, we don't believe that. So it's actually kind of crazy. The early fathers, right? I forgot the exact one, but there was an opinion, or they took the Jewish opinion, right, that God can't actually enter creation.
Okay.
Right. So like to mean like the eternal cannot like shrink itself down into the finite.
Yeah.
Right. So but then we have Jesus, and then we have the Old Testament theophanies. How does that work? Right. So they sort of distinguished it into like two different kinds. Do you want me to hold that for you?
No. I'll be alright.
The first one, how can the infinite enter the finite, is through created effects. Right? So the burning bush is a created effect of God, but he uses that to communicate with Moses, because the bush is a created thing, and so is the fire. Neither of them are eternal.
Yeah, but sounds like they're being too deep. Man.
Sorry?
Sounds like they're getting too deep.
Yeah, there's a very Judaism alone is very, very deep, right? So obviously we took that as well. Like from them when we accepted the Messiah, because like the deepness of Judaism is what actually points to the Messiah. Okay. So that was the first one, and the second one is via the incarnation. So in the incarnation, the physical body of Christ and the soul are completely created. They're completely composed of parts. That's fine for us.
The soul?
Yes. So the body and the soul. So when we hold Christ to be fully human, that includes the human soul as well. Right? But then what we hold is that the nature of Christ isn't just a singular nature, like me and you have a human nature only. He had a human and the divine nature. So the divine nature is what, for example, like allowed him to perform, to like say and perform the miracles that he did that only God can do, like forgive sins or hear the thoughts of man's hearts.
All right, so
or conquer death.
So humans, as we are.
Yeah.
Would you say that all of us, all of a human consists only of the human nature?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the human nature includes the human soul.
All right, but that's okay. So that human nature.
Think about like an animal. A horse has the nature of a horse. Like,
yeah.
And that's it. Yeah.
But then, can Satan destroy all of that human nature?
No, because Jesus said it himself. Don't fear man who can destroy the body. Fear him who can destroy the body and the soul. That's God.
Yeah, that means that soul isn't human nature, it's something else.
No, it is the human nature, but the human nature is made of parts, right? So the human body is made of parts, but also it's made of parts in both the like tangible and the intangible realm, right? So your human body is tangible, like it can just like pass through objects, right? It's like solid. But at the same time, you have your memories, your personality, your emotions, right? And that all feeds in from your spirit, which is a component of your soul. So humans are both like spiritual and physical creatures, but those two come together to form the human nature, which is why Christ also has a human soul.
All right, so with saying that Jesus was a fully human
and fully divine at the same time, yeah.
Oh, but that so that fully divine was in there as well.
Yeah, yes. So in nature, he was dual in nature, both divine and human, and then the two were distinct, so they didn't mix with each other.
All right. So what you're saying is okay. So even though with us, the soul is our self.
Yeah, well, the soul. Yeah, depending on how you want to put it, right? The soul / the spirit is like the breath of life in us that animates us, and the spirit / the soul is like the house of our like intellect and emotion and reason and all that good stuff.
Well, no, I'll say it's our soul because obviously if our legs got cut off, arms got cut off, we'd still be there. So it's not based on the structure of the body.
You know, it's not. I'm just using the term because I found that if you go on like a Jewish interlinear and you look at the word soul in the Old Testament, right? It's thought of as being the breath of life. But then if you go on the Greek interlinear and look at the term spirit in the New Testament, then that is thought of as being the breath of life as well. So in the Old Testament, it seems that the soul was the breath of life, and the spirit was like the intellect and the emotional capacity of the soul. But then in the New Testament, it flips around. So now the spirit is the breath of life, and the soul is the intellectual capacity and the emotions of man. But that's why I say soul or spirit. It's the same jazz basically.
Yeah.
One of them is the breath of life that animates you. The other one is your intellectual capacity and all that good stuff.
Okay, but going back to Jesus.
Yep.
So he just trying to get it back. Yeah.
He had two natures.
Yeah. So the nature which is like the fully God.
Yep. The divine nature.
Yeah. Did that go into death? Well, you know, because he died, didn't he?
Good question. Okay. I'll look into that one. I'll look into that one.
Well, you might not have to.
I think his human soul is what went to into death, right? It would have to be his human soul, but then I want to see the opinion on if the human soul was accompanied by the divine nature, because ultimately, if it was only, this is my thinking, right? I'm just so spitballing. I don't really know, but if it was only the human soul, then I don't know how he would be able to have like command over death with only a human soul. So I would argue that the human soul also had the divine nature as well. But I could be wrong, but we'll see. That's what I would argue.
Well, you can go by what Jesus said.
Sure.
So this is Revelation 1. Well, I'll start from 17.
Sure.
It says, when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead.
That's the angel, right? That's the angel.
That's the one with the 7 stars in his hand. All right, let me start.
Oh, the first. So this is John talking.
Yeah, I'll start from 12 then to get context. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks, and in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
Right.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
Right.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Right.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. And his voice as the sound of many waters.
All right. Yes, that's the Son of Man. Cool.
And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength.
Sure.
And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead.
As dead. Okay, fine, sure.
Yeah, and he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, I am the first and the last.
I was dead and I'm alive. Or,
yeah, I mean that liveth and was dead, and behold I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and death.
Amen.
So according to him, he was dead.
Yeah, in the flesh, right? So James tells us what death is.
But then going by what you're saying about the
2 natures.
Yeah. If the second nature didn't die, but it's the divine nature. That's him, isn't it?
So you're making a mistake as to what death is.
Okay.
And James tells us.
All right.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, let's read
So where he says faith without works is dead, even as
that's philosophical. I'm talking about physical.
Yeah, like it's the description of, this is James 2:14.
Yeah.
So James 2:14 tells us what death is, because if you don't agree with that, that death is a separation of the body from the spirit, right? Then you need to tell me what death is biblically. James 2:14. What good is it, my brothers, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can that faith save him? If a brother or a sister is poorly clothed and lacking in daily food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, be warmed and filled," without giving them a thing needed for the body, what good is that? So also faith itself, if it does not have works, is dead. And then where does it go to the part about the body? 1 second, sorry. Oh wait, up until 26. So let me fast forward.
Body without spirit.
Yeah, that one there. Is that at the end? Yeah. So 26. For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. So from this, we can understand that our Christian conception of death is a separation of the body from the spirit, right? So Jesus was dead in his human nature, in that his human body was separated from his human spirit, which is how the human spirit was able to go into hell and then proclaim his victory and preach the gospel to those who didn't hear it in the time of Noah.
Oh, but didn't you say that his human spirit was created?
Yes.
Oh, so his human spirit, so he's divine. His human spirit was created.
As part of human nature.
And then it was that human spirit that went into hell.
Yeah. But the human spirit was still joined. So the human spirit is only a component of the human nature, but the divine nature always stays with Christ.
Okay, but then it's the divine nature. That's what's really him.
So in the person of Christ, really and truly, he is really human and really divine.
Yeah.
So he's both.
But you're saying that divine part didn't die.
So the divinity cannot die. Only the created can die, and the created is human nature. So when we say death, we mean of the flesh. When I say if I die or you die, we don't die because divinity dies. We die because now our bodies can no longer house our spiritual souls.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how Christ died.
Okay, but then so if we go a different way and say that the Father and Son are separate, wouldn't it then make it easier for the Son to actually die truly and then match what he said in Revelation?
So if we say the Father and Son are separate, then we have two gods and not one God.
Right.
Because separation would imply that there are two divine existences. So like Zeus and Hera.
Okay, but what determines God?
So we can determine God by his essential qualities and his attributes, for example.
Okay, so if we have a king and his son, do they both have the same essential attributes?
You could say that they have the same status, for example, as being royalty, but the son and the king are two separate existences.
Right, but the son, is the son a king?
The son is not a king until his father abdicates the throne or dies, no?
Right, so that means you can't have two divine beings, one's God and one's a son.
Okay, but the problem there is that when you apply the same kind of concept to God, what then happens is, if you do a one-to-one comparison, we now have two divine beings, one king being and one son of king being. So now we're no longer monotheists. We're now like dualists.
No, people always worship the king. When the king has a son, They don't worship the Son, they worship the King.
But then we're saying that in the Trinity, they aren't separate and they're just distinct and they share completely in the same essence. So you realize if the King and his Son were like one kind of like combined being.
Okay, but then remember, when we read in Daniel,
yep,
and the book of Revelation,
yep,
it shows that they're not.
No, so they are distinct from each other, right? Which is why, for example, the Son of Man could approach the Ancient of Days, right? Because they are distinctive, right? They are not separated. When he is seeing the Son of Man approaching the Ancient of Days in the vision, right? That's just created imagery. That's not literally happening, right? Like think about it, right? Like the Word of God isn't taking steps towards the Ancients of Days, because that would imply that, like, you know, they live in a place that has like space and time, but they don't, because they are creation itself and the reality itself.
Okay, but then in heaven, don't the other sons, the angels,
right,
they approach the throne?
Right, but not in like a literal sense, perhaps, right? Not in a sense where like they are 30 meters from the throne and they approach it 30 meters later. No, in that sense. It's just language being used to understand the things of God.
Right. So when it said in the Old Testament about the construction of the tabernacle, being like how being a similitude of what's in heaven. So then, like the dimensions and the shape of it,
right?
Did God give them a specific shape? And
so the things in heaven are not physical; they're spiritual, right? So the tabernacle is in similitude with what's in heaven, in that in the Holy of Holies lies the presence of God, just as in heaven lies the presence of God. So the dimensions have nothing to do with heaven.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the exact dimension, but the fact that he's told them to put it as a certain shape,
right?
Because he could have made them, told them to do it triangular, flat.
Sure.
But the fact he gave them like a dimension which worked out as a cube. So he obviously, would you think he had a reason?
It's not quite a cube. It's like a rectangular
cubic.
Sure.
So the fact he's giving them a cubic, cube-related dimension or rectangular dimension.
Right.
Is he just doing that for no reason, or there's a reason?
I don't think there's a specific reason as to the shape, right? If I had to guess, right, I would say that God understands the architectural limitations that the children of Israel are facing in the wilderness. If they were in like the Arctic, for example, right, a cube won't serve the purpose. That's to build like a giant igloo, right, to keep it warm in the inside. So
yeah, but what I'm talking about is it seems like when he describes how the Ark of the Covenant should be designed, he's being very specific.
And that's fine. God can be specific. That's fine.
Yeah. So then, would you say the reason he's being specific is because it's there's something it's based on, or it's just?
Yeah, it might be based on something in the same way that, for example, man is made in the image of God, but that does not mean that man looks like God, for example, right? There's like a spiritual sense in which is significant. So I have no problem admitting that the Ark or the tabernacle might have some kind of spiritual significance, right? But I don't think it's a physical one. So maybe the physical dimensions hold some kind of like spiritual significance, but I don't know what that is.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So the fact that there's some sort of relation.
Sure, absolutely. So there's a relationship between all God's creation and God. Absolutely.
So when you have the Ancient of Days and
the Son of Man.
Yeah, Son of Man approaches them.
Yes.
You don't think that
it's not a literal approach.
Okay, but yeah, I know. But does it have any significance though?
Huh?
Does it have any significance? The fact that he gave the vision in that way.
It could be, right, because like the description is that like he approaches the Ancient of Days, and the Ancient of Days gives unto him authority over all the earth, right? That all nations should come and worship him, right? It could be just telling of Jesus Christ coming down to earth, performing his duty as a Son of Man, dying on the cross, resurrecting, and then going back to the Father, who is now giving him the authority to come down and judge all people, for example. It could be that.
So then when it says that the thousands stood before him. Yeah, so when it says thousands ministers unto him, and it said 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, and then the judgment was set. So do you think that is an actual judgment, or it's metaphorical?
It's some kind of divine judgment. It will not take like time to process. It will happen in an instant, likely, right? but it's just terminologies that we can help us like understand or envision what Daniel saw.
Right. So do you think people will be standing before him?
I don't know if they'll be doing it in a literal sense, right?
Right. So if everything that we saw is described there in Daniel 7,
as an analogy, because it's a vision, right? You can't. If you have a vision, it'll be hard to like describe the vision, right? Like for example, you can have a vision and say, "Oh, you saw the most beautiful elephant you've ever seen," but what does that even look like, right? You have to like liken it to things, right?
Right. So, okay. So
even look at Ezekiel's visions, like those are bizarre, right? Like.
Yeah, but the thing about these visions, these are related to what's happening when they're happening to us. In terms of judgment, and what's going to happen to those kings of the earth who like
the beasts, is it 4 kings or is it 10? Something
no, it's 4 in there.
4 kings, 4 kings, Same thing in Daniel.
Right. So what you're essentially saying is that they've got one. So there's one divine essence.
Yes.
But,
existence.
But the distinction
is a role.
Is that and those roles.
Yep.
Is there the roles themselves?
Michael,
what you ready? No, I'm still talking.
Almost.
So those, you know what you're saying about the roles?
Yeah.
So, did they have those roles from like eternity?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would have determined those roles?
Sorry?
What would have determined those roles?
The roles are just properties of the individual substances. So these are already, I don't think it's a particular thing that determines them. It just is, from my understanding.
Right, okay, so say if instead we could say that going by the fact that they're from the same substance and they're both God, if say someone came along as a philosopher and said, oh, that's not father and son, that's 2 brothers.
Okay.
How would you differentiate between them being 2 brothers rather than father and son?
So again, it's just a use of terminology, right? In our language, at least in English, for example, right? We don't hold that one brother can be the cause of another brother, right? That is something that we ascribe to a father. So, for example, even in general English language, right? When I told you about Adam Smith being the father of modern economics, right? Or Edison being the father of photography, we don't tend to use language of brother to suggest when someone causes something to exist.
So what you believe is that there was a cause of some kind.
Yeah.
And just checking, and this cause is before he came to earth.
Yes. So the cause is in eternity past. The Father eternally causes the Son. And when something happens eternally, there's no beginning or end to it.
But wouldn't it cause a problem if there's no end?
No.
Eternally cause.
Yeah.
I have to admit that description, the way you're describing it doesn't make any sense.
Which one?
No, about him eternally causing the sun.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that it's happening. So don't think about it in the sense that it's happening all the time. But it happens without time. Which is very hard to imagine, right? Because now you're trying to imagine eternity without time.
No, but the reason I'm saying that is because it's easier, as far as I can see, it's easier for someone to understand if you just had the Father, and then he had the Son,
right?
And then we read everything in the Bible and match that up.
Okay.
And then we don't even need any philosophers to get us to understand what's going on.
No, but I mean, like, philosophy is a part of religion. Like, how can we ask any questions about God if we don't use philosophy?
Okay, so which prophet or apostle used philosophy to explain something to the common people?
So it depends how philosophically minded the people were, right? So we don't have, like, for example, we don't have, like, numerous books on all the sayings and doings of Elijah, for example, right?
I'm just saying what God gave, because obviously whatever God gave us in the Bible, that's the important stuff.
Right, so these people use revelation, right, and then the common language of a time, whatever that was, to explain the things of God to them. And so however he explained that at the time. That's how they understood it, from my understanding, right? Now that we live in this era, where we have like an inundation of multiple different ideas coming in from all corners of the world, right? Potentially the language that we can use is going to be different. Because now we don't live in random, like, villages and random wildernesses like anymore. We live in like a global society.
Right. So here's the interesting thing. So if we go instead with having the father, and then he has a son, and the son is separate, do you know anything that in the Bible that it would be hard to describe using that concept?
It will be hard to describe the idea of what we hold as a Trinity with that concept, because now, hear, O Israel, the Lord God is one, is no longer true.
Yeah, so that means if we ditch the Trinity, the Father and Son concept will match what's in the Bible.
But now, if we ditch the Trinity, now we are a tritheistic religion. We believe in three gods. We believe in Odin, Thor, and Hela or something.
No, but remember what I said before, we've got kings, and then he has a son.
Yeah.
They don't worship the son.
Odin is a king, and he has a son called Thor, and another son called Loki, and another son, right? But the problem is that there are three different existences, and they don't all equal the one God.
No, but which one's God?
So Odin is a king of the gods.
No, which one is God?
So they're all gods, all of them. So
you're saying in that sense there's three gods?
Yes, right? So Thor's the god of thunder, right? That's his role. Odin's the god of war and creation, that's his role. And Loki's the god of deals, like marketing or trading and trickery. That's his role.
But you realize what you just done though, is that by saying about roles, that you're describing the Trinity.
I'm not, right? Because the reason why is that, so for example, in the Trinity, we also understand that the three substances have roles, right? In every pantheon all around the world, all of the gods mentioned have roles. But the distinguisher between every other pantheon and the Trinity is that we claim that all of the three persons or substances of God are equal to God, which no other religion claims.
Right. But then, what I said about the king and his son, do you know anywhere on earth where when a king has even you've got the king, say even you've got a company, so you've got the owner of the company, when the owner of the company has a son, they know that eventually when the company owner dies, the son is going to grow up and now become the actual boss, so he's going to have the same level as the original boss. But until that owner dies, do people ever look upon the son as being like another owner or co-owner? Or...
So no, they look at him as like an inheritor, right? Which is why I wouldn't use that analogy for the Trinity, because it doesn't work for the Trinity.
Right, so but it's good what you said about inheritor.
Yeah, because Christ is called the inheritor, I know.
Yeah, so why the term inheritor?
So that involves the incarnation. So he will inherit all things, right? Just as I think in John, was this 17:5? Or is that when he says like, now the hour has come, glorify me with the glory that I had with you before the world was? Yeah. So in the incarnation, we understand in the context of Philippians 2:7 that Christ lowers himself to the form of a servant, right? So then now, in the appropriate time, at the appropriate instance, right, Christ is then being given again those features that he had with the Father before he came down in the form of a man. So when he's called the inheritor, for example, that's another example of that happening. He's being given an eternal feature that he already had.
But you realize what that would mean, that he would have lost, because what he lost was just
I wouldn't say he lost anything. I would simply just say he humbled himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So even if he only humbled himself and didn't lose anything, there's nothing for him to inherit.
So what I would say is there's things to inherit in his role during the incarnation, because in his role in the incarnation he doesn't have those things, right? Yeah. Because the incarnation is simply like a role that the Son is carrying out. Now, in the person of Christ, before a certain time, he does not have those things allotted to him. At the correct time, he's then glorified by the Father.
Oh, but then when you say the term allotted...
Yes. Or given to him.
All right, and given.
Yeah.
But then, if he's supposed to be of the same substance, why would he need to be given anything?
So he's of the same substance in the divine nature. Right?
Say that again?
He's of the same substance according to the divine nature of the Word of God, right?
I don't quite get that.
So, okay, so God has 3 substances, and then there's like one essence or one nature, right? Which is like the underlying reality of who God is, right? So his divine nature is like his omnipotence, omnipresence, omnibenevolence, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Right? So in the person of Christ, right? In his role, he does have, yes, both the divine nature and the human nature, but at different points in time during his ministry, you see the expression of one nature more than the other. They are both present at all times, and is in fact the reason why he doesn't commit sin. But at different points in time, you see the expression coming through. So, for example, when the expression of glorify me with the glory I have before the world was, that's now showcasing that his divine nature is then speaking to the person of Christ.
Well, yeah, I get that part, but I'm just trying to.
So, because Christ is like a creation in time, right? It is possible that via his human body, there are periods in our reality where he does not express a certain kind of divinity.
Yeah, he wouldn't, because he's inside the body.
Right, but at different points in time, he expresses it, right? Like reading the hearts of men, walking on the water, all that good stuff. Defeating death.
Okay, but still going back to what I was saying about the
inheritor.
The king and the CEO.
Yep.
So, when we look at it that way, since both the king and CEO, they have their inheritor.
Yep.
He's got the same body as them, and will even grow up to have the same position as them as well. So, but at the time before the king or CEO, when it's still reigning, it's only because CEO means chief executive officer. There's only ever one.
Yep.
And king, you only ever have one.
Sure. There's like co-regency and stuff for sure.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in proper places.
Sure.
When a king is strong, he's not going to let some other guy come and do anything.
Sure.
It's going to be one king. So, those concepts, do you think those concepts were just like randomly came into man's head, or do you think it's something that was inbuilt into them that made them like do things that way?
The idea of kings and
the CEO being a single person.
I think it's just trial and error for the most part. I think like people. So all throughout history, and even till today, you will have instances of people trying to co-rule or divide up land and regions into different pieces that are ruled by different people, right? And it generally doesn't work. Everything always seems to collapse into one ultimate ruler. It happened in America, happened in Britain, happened everywhere. They have 4 kingdoms in Britain at one point.
Yeah, so what you notice is that even when we look at someone like, say, Abraham.
Yep.
Abraham, he was the head of the family.
Yep, after his father, yeah.
Yeah, and there was no one, well, his household, because he separated, didn't he?
Sure.
Yeah. So when he separated, he was the head of the household.
Yep.
And there was no one else coming up and being like a co-boss with him.
Sure.
So even though, and you notice there was
there was the one point where Lot, do you remember when him and Lot had the exact same, had a very large flock? And so it was so large that they couldn't live in the same area anymore. So Abraham offers him to go to either Sodom and Gomorrah or the other region, and then Lot picks the more bountiful land. You remember that?
Yeah, but you see, when you look at that, Lot wasn't really a part. He wasn't a part of. You could say he wasn't being commanded by Abraham.
No, but because of Abraham, his status has almost risen to be equal with Abraham, at least in wealth.
Yeah, but Abraham's still senior. That never changed.
Well, yeah. I suppose you could make that claim, but you can see how they basically came very close to being like co-rulers, you could say.
Yeah, but you couldn't take away the seniority. The seniority is something that's permanent that can't be taken away. Because Abraham is just senior. That's it.
With Esau and Jacob, it was taken away. At least with Esau and Jacob, it was taken away in terms of blessing. So it can happen. People can be usurped.
Oh, no, but I'm talking about in the position there, because remember, they're brothers. So yeah, that can happen.
No,
with brothers.
Lot. No, sorry.
Yeah, because Lot is one step down from Abraham. So there's no way he could, in terms of seniority, get up to him.
Not in seniority, but in status, perhaps.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about.
Sure.
So when the problem that the Trinitarians have with having the Father and Son separate is that
it results in two gods.
Yeah, so that's like the panic thing that...
And that's what we don't want, right? Because like, now we're polytheists.
But the thing about it is, when I look at what's happening on Earth, and even when we're reading the Bible, it looks to me like God's already got that covered.
Got what covered, sorry?
Well, the fact that even though two people might be of the same substance, when they're separate, as one will be senior, and as long as the other one is takes their subservient role, then everything's good.
Okay. So what I would say in regards to that is there are things that the person who is subservient cannot say or do. Because they are not the one in charge, right? But then when we see Jesus equate himself to the Father, like saying, my Father is working and I am working until now. Or if you go to like John 10, like 26, right? He talks about my sheep know my name. So know my voice and I know them. And my sheep are in my Father's hands and no one can take them from my Father's hands. Likewise, no one can take them from my hands, right? So when suddenly the prince in your example starts to go beyond his station and equates himself to the king before the king takes abdicates the throne, then that's a problem. That's mutiny.
But Jesus never did that.
But he literally equates himself to the Father, right?
Yeah, but notice, whenever he does an equation, he always puts himself behind, isn't he? He says his Father does, and then I do. Notice he doesn't say the Father looks at him and does he?
So which is fine, right? In the incarnation, right, he is looking to the Father. But notice how even if you looked at the Father, right, if you can do the exact same things that the Father is doing simply by looking at him, then that showcases that you have the same nature as the Father.
Yeah, that's fine. But remember, like we said about the CEO and king, those heirs are going to get to the same status as the king or CEO.
So, for example, the king can take a country to war. Can a prince do that? Can a prince start a war and command the king's army as though they are his?
No, if the king's alive.
Then that's essentially what Jesus is doing.
What? He's commanding something?
So he's doing the equivalent of being able to begin a war even though he's only the prince, for example.
Alright, so here's a classic question then. Is there any instance when there's something the Father didn't do and Jesus just said that, the Father doesn't do this, or doesn't mention what the Father does, and said, but I of myself do this?
So Jesus says, I of myself can do nothing, right?
Yeah, that's the worst one he uses.
Huh?
He says, can do nothing.
Yes. And what that means is this simple. So we hold that in the singular essence and in the three substances, right, there's only one mind. And that mind is the mind of God. So all three persons share the same mind. They don't have distinct minds. Right? So in sharing the same mind, they all understand their individual roles and they action them out perfectly without any deliberation, confusion, or contention.
Right. So when when the one the Muslims love to use about Jesus praying. When he said, "Not my will, but thy will be done." Which will was that will that Jesus mentioned?
So
is that the shared one, or
as part of having two natures, a divine and a human, he also has two wills, and so in that sense, what the explanation that I have heard is that in his human nature, in the classic human. Like will to survive against all odds, he is crying out from his human nature. But then, when he says, not my will, but your will be done, and we know what the will of the Father is said in John 6:14, that all should look upon the Son and believe in him, and he will raise them on the last day. Then, he is now resolute. He no longer cries out. He no longer even says anything while he's being tortured. He gives very, very short, simple answers, and he even tells Peter that if he wanted to, he could have commanded his Father to send over 10 legions of angels to defend him. So ultimately, what's being showcased there? Just natural human inclination to survive, or to want to survive.
Right, and then so if we go to the next one, where after he was resurrected.
Yep.
When he's resurrected, do you believe that he's still in that same human body which is separated out, where you've got the divine and the...
He is now glorified, right? You know how the Bible, I forgot where it says, but it says like in the resurrection we will be like Christ.
Yeah, I think that's Corinthians.
I can pull that up for us.
I think it's 1 Corinthians 15. Yeah, I think it is actually. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
How did I insult? How did I insult? No, how did I They say, they are telling that in the Bible, okay, what they're saying,
Yeah, 1 Corinthians 15, 35?
Is it true?
Something like that. What is it?
Yeah, it's
something of that nature, but something about us being in the resurrection, being like Christ in the resurrection. But ultimately, the idea is that he is now in a glorified body, and yes, it does still have the two natures. A perfected human?
Yeah, if you go on, it's 38.
38, yeah.
No, what is it? Well, 40. Resurrection of dead, Sony corruption.
It's somewhere there.
Yeah, spiritual body. First man's earth, second man's Lord from heaven. Yes, it's just as you go down. The spirit says flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom of God. So when he was after he was resurrected, would you say that this separation where you have the divine and the human nature, they're still separated at that point?
So they're not separated, only distinct, right? So only distinguishable. They are not apart from each other because Christ isn't two people; he's one person.
Right. So
one person with two natures and two wills. So even in the my last point. Sorry. Even in the resurrection, he still has the two natures. He still has the two wills. But now he is the firstborn from the dead, to mean that he is now has a glorified human body, free of disease, decay, and death, that will never die.
But he's still got two wills.
Yes. A perfected human will and the divine will.
So does he keep the two wills forever?
Yes. So now the two wills are now forever in Christ. Yes. But this does not add anything to God.
But you don't think that sounds strange?
It's just the understanding of the incarnation. Like it's not supposed to be done away with, right? Because like the idea is that Christ says that I died and now I'm alive forevermore. So there you go.
Yeah, but then the way I see that is just that he's a soul which went into the human flesh. So if he's the actual soul that went in, then he would have died. And so there's no need for any of these two split sort of business.
So what you're talking about was actually one of the heresies in the early church, like the Nestorian heresy.
Right.
The idea that like Christ was like just a regular kid, right? Or a regular baby.
Yeah.
But then the Spirit swam into him while he was in the womb. And that's what made him divine. Is that your understanding, or is that something else?
No, that he the same way we as people are in our bodies.
Yep.
And if our bodies are completely vaporized,
yep,
we're still here.
The spirit lives on, yeah?
Yeah, so it's the same thing, that Jesus is whatever doesn't get vaporized with the body.
Okay.
Was put into a body.
At conception or later?
No, at conception. So that had to be, because just like with us,
yep,
we're alive from the first cell.
Yep.
Yes, I'm saying the same as that.
Okay, fine. Yeah, no, that's fine. But understand that always, even at conception, there was the two wills being distinct within Christ, even from conception.
Yeah, this two wills thing, where did that teaching come from?
Huh? It's the teaching of the early church to explain why Christ can, on the one hand, say and do the things of God, but on the other hand, also be able to die on the cross.
Right. So they. Right, so they had to do that in order
to make sense of the idea.
Right, so, and to get away from them being two separate, the father and son being separate.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like they should just go with the father and son being separate and use the concept of the king and heir, and then it'd be fixed.
Then we have two divine gods, man. Then now we're dualists.
One, no, remember, when you go into a company, no one's dualist with the CEO, are they? And the inheritor.
Right, but the problem is, right, I think it then becomes a bit more contentious when you're trying to ascribe the CEO or nation rulership structure to God. Right? Because this is essentially a human thing, right?
Yeah, where did it come from?
Huh?
So it just appeared in the minds of humans from nothing.
So it could have done it that way for certain civilizations, right? They could have automatically picked somebody who they saw as being the strongest, biggest person to rule them, right? Or for other nations, it came about that way from a long series of like wars and conflicts that ultimately resulted in power collapsing into one person.
Yeah, but no, it's what every single country seems to realize is that you do always have to have one person in order to have proper stability.
Yeah, so that appears to be the like organization of countries that has won out of all the other ideas, right? But I don't think it means that it has to come from God. Human beings have rationality, so they can see what works and what doesn't work.
So what do you think made in the image of God means?
Rationality, right? Having rationality, having like emotion, having the ability to like even conceive about God, having the ability to like look at our civilization and like make things out of it to suit us, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and organize things properly, like God as well.
Yep.
Because if that organization wasn't there somewhere in our mind, right, then we just have chaos.
Right, but for a long time we did. And there were many civilizations that never even reached that point where they got to one leader.
Yeah, but which point would you say there was chaos?
I would say practically any point in time before Christianity came along.
Yeah, there was chaos, but notice, see, if it was just random chaos, then the place would just be a mess and we wouldn't have anything at all.
The world was a mess with nothing at all for a long time, man.
No, but remember we had the things like the different empires that came along.
Yeah, but empires didn't make things better for the rest of the world, right? They made things worse.
No, but they kept things organized then.
They kept things organized in the sense that everyone was inferior to them, right? But I wouldn't say things like mass genocide and like slavery and like barbarism is necessarily organized. That's what like the Romans
did.
Bad
things happening, but the thing is, they did stop because they knew that even as rulers of wherever they're ruling, things had to be organized because the chaos could cause them to lose their power. So organizing stuff was required.
But then, despite the organization, no empire exists to this day. All of them have come along and they're all gone.
Yeah, but they still lasted in their time, and then another empire comes. So the organization's always there because you need an organized empire to take out a previous empire.
But then what happened when, for example, in Europe, the Roman Empire fell? There was no new empire for like almost 1,000 years.
Yeah, well, no, you're talking about after the
Roman Empire fell, yeah.
After the Eastern fell.
The Western fell. So the Vanguards in like 440 AD.
Yeah, but the East was still strong.
The East was significantly weakened, which is why when the Ottomans came in the 1400s, they couldn't really defend against them.
Yeah, that's a long
1,000 years later, yeah.
Yeah, but they still managed to last that long.
Yeah, but like they were barely an empire anymore. They had like lost most of their territory at that point to the Muslims.
Oh yeah, but the important thing is they were still organized under the same method that I'm trying to say, where you had one ruler.
Yep.
They didn't even try to go with 10 rulers or 3 rulers or anything like that. They knew that having one is the more surefire way.
See ya. Is the more surefire way of making things work out, right?
Yeah,
so what I would say is two things then. The first thing is, despite that, it's still imperfect.
Oh, yeah,
so which is why I wouldn't apply it to God. I would say, oh sorry.
No, what I was going to say is that when something's imperfect, in order to stop it from going to chaos, I'm saying that that's what you do, apply things from God to stop it from going to chaos, even though it's imperfect.
So you're saying that God has the perfect version of this whole king and prince thing tied down?
Yeah, well, that sounds good the way you said it.
Okay. Yeah. I would still argue against it, unfortunately, because now let's look at it this way. So in your conception, right, how many existences are there now?
Existences?
Yes.
There's one.
So there's the one existence who's the Father.
Yeah.
Right? So what is the Son? Is he still in existence or not anymore? And let's go with your conception, right, of the king and the prince, right? So the king and the prince in this reality are two separate existences.
Yeah.
Right? That share the same kind of nature.
Yeah.
Right? So now, when you go to God, is the Father one existence and the Son a different one in your conception?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two existences.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, do they share in the same nature? In the same way that the human king and the human prince would have the same human nature?
Yeah, because in both cases, one came out the other.
Yep.
So that's where the sharing comes from.
Okay, so the same nature.
Yeah.
So the Father, the King, the separate existence, has the nature of God, and then the Prince, the Son, the separate existence, also has God's nature.
No, of the King.
I'm talking about. I'm comparing it to God now. So we did the King.
Yeah.
They both have a human nature. The King and the Prince. Right. For God now, the Father has the nature of God, and the Son, by consequence, also has God's nature.
Yeah.
But they are two separate existences.
Yeah.
Right? With God's nature.
Yeah.
So that literally means that you have two separate existing gods.
Yeah, but one's subservient and one's the Son, designated as Son.
Right, but the nature is still the same. So they're still exactly the same. They have the exact same quality, right?
Yeah.
So, like for example, the king human isn't more human than his princely son.
No.
Right? So now the Godfather is no more God than the God Son.
Right, but one came before the other.
Right, but not in a sequential manner, right? In a way where there is no time. So they were always both there at the same time.
Well,
like with the fire and the light and the heat example.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is that because we were around after them, we can't make any determination about what that is. So what we're going by is the fact that the Father himself says Son. So what I'm using is the concept of what he said.
Right, but then the whole thing I say is an analogy and not literal.
Yeah, but then we're back to this problem with the Jews, the fact that the Jews understood Jesus. So that's why I'm saying that Jesus described, so you have...
So I say they understood him, they understood his analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. To point to the fact that he was the unique Son of God, like John 3:16 says.
Right. So when you know, like when I think I like the way he says it. You know when you have God coming at the baptism of Jesus.
Yep. This is my son who I am well pleased. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to him and obey him. Yeah.
Yes. So he says. So at the baptism, obviously there were people going there to be baptized. So there'd been other people around. And so if he says, Spirit was saying, and a little voice from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." So that voice, when he says, "This is my Son," who does it sound like he's speaking to?
Ah, okay. It could be to John.
Okay, well, if you say it's John then.
Yeah.
So when he's speaking to John and saying, "My beloved Son," what concept would John have of what he's hearing?
Oh, so John realizes that he is the fulfillment of Elijah, right? So Malachi, right? He is the one making straight the path of the Lord, right? Because he tells his congregation that he is not the one who has been spoken of by the prophets, right? But the one who is coming, he is not even worthy of tying his shoe or whatever it was that he said, right? So John fully understands the station of Jesus Christ as the Son of God.
Right. So, but that's when God says Son.
Yep.
Do you think that God is being perfectly clear in using the term Son?
Yeah, yes. So I think he's being clear to his audience, absolutely, yes.
And they're humans?
Yes, and they understand the idea, because don't forget, they already had a conception in ancient Judaism that God was a father, right? That he was the cause of all things, in the same way a father is the cause of a son, or an offspring or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So in that same sense, they can apply the same analogical description to the idea of the only begotten or the unique Son of God.
Right, and then remember what the Jews said is that calling God his father, making himself equal with God.
Yeah, but that wasn't the thing, right? It was when he likened himself working as his father is working. So it was the verse 17 that really got them.
Yeah, but when you look at what those Jews, the way those Jews worked it out, does it sound more like what I'm saying or what the Trinitarians are saying?
What Trinitarians are saying?
What? That
because he was equating himself to the Father in works.
Yeah, but I'm talking about from the view of the Jews.
Yes. So it would seem that from what we read, from that one verse 17, the one you didn't highlight, it would appear that they drew the conclusion that he was talking about himself as being God, because he was likening the work he was doing to the work that God is doing, and calling God his Father in the process. Yeah, that's why.
I know, but I'm saying the Jews themselves, because if we look on them as not being Trinitarians, because I think that's safe to say.
Sure, like in the early days, sure,
yeah. Then they actually look on it as him calling God his father. So the way they're seeing the equality is because God's his father. That's how they inferring the equality.
I would argue no, because I would argue no for the reason that I stated beforehand, that the reason why they liken him being the Son of God to him being God is Jesus calling calling God his Father in relation to the fact that the Father is still working to maintain the universe, and so is he, right? Because, the reason I say this is because the Jews at the time are not foreign to the idea of somebody being called the Son of God. They have, like the Muslims will say, they have sons by the tons, right? There's many people in the Old Testament called the Son of God, right? So that concept isn't this familiar to them. But in relation to the works, that's the part that got them.
Yeah, but then notice that he's saying that calling God his father, though. That's the thing.
Okay, think about this. Let's compare with another one. Right? To show you another example of what I'm saying. When he's healing the paralytic man, right? The Pharisees who are watching from the window, thinking in their head, who is this man that he has so much authority, and who is he that he can forgive sins? Only God can forgive sins, right? Yeah. So again, by his works, they are seeing what he's doing and what he is saying, and making the conclusion that he is likening himself to God.
Yeah.
Based upon his works.
Yeah, and so but then they're seeing from him saying he could do things that are equivalent to God. But the important thing is that he's doing things like he's essentially copying.
Right. So who can copy God but God?
And his son.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the problem is that if his son is like a separate existence, that means two gods.
Right. But then remember what we said. Even though they're both the same. So the way I see it is what the problem is that the Trinitarians, I think they were trying to overthink it, because when you look at people on earth, they know that a king is the same as a prince, and sometimes you get people even try to go to like the prince to try and, if they want to dethrone the father, they'll try and do something to separate them out, because they know that eventually if the king dies, the influence they have with the prince can then allow them to get the rulership, say, over the whole country. So when you look at it that way, when these Jews see that, they know that him saying he's calling God his father, they going on the concept of princes and king, when they look at it that way, I can see why they would obviously be offended by that, because then they're saying that can get to that position.
Right, but they've said that he's made himself equal to God, but the prince is never like equal in role to the king until he becomes king.
Yeah, but it's the potential.
But they're not talking about potential, they're talking about actuality, that he's actually making himself equal with God by that statement.
Yeah, but then we'd have to say it's potential, because because equal with God, I'd say, like you're saying, it's in terms of doing the things that God does.
Yep.
So what they're seeing is that he can do certain things
that only God, that from the understanding only God can do.
Yeah, but that still doesn't mean that he's not still the son. Because the thing I'm trying to say is that when it comes to the equality with God, I'm still saying that it's to do with, they know in the past, they've seen the potential of princes when they turn to a king. So I'm saying that they're seeing it that way. That's why they're saying equality.
I'm not getting that from the text personally. You're free to read that into the text if you would like.
Yeah.
But I just think that the overall problem still remains that how can we hold through to the Shema as Christians, but yet believe in two separate gods, a king god and a prince god?
No, but see, that's the thing. You're using the term prince god,
right?
But what I'm saying is the son of God.
Okay.
So being the son.
Okay, fine. How can we hold true then? How can we maintain the Shema, but hold true to a separate Father God and a separate Son God?
Yeah, but no, it's the term Son God isn't used, isn't it?
I'm just using it as like an identifier.
Okay.
Right? Because I used the word Prince and King. You didn't agree with that. Now I'm using Father and Son.
No, Prince. What do you mean Prince and King?
So how can we hold to the idea that the Lord God of Israel is one, but believe that there is a separate God the Father and his separate Son? How can we marry those two ideas together?
Oh, because like you said, God is the Father God.
But he has a son too, who is of the same nature as him, as a prince would be of the same human nature as a king.
Right, but here's the important thing. Does he have the same authority?
Yes.
Okay, can you show me that?
All things that belong to the Father are mine.
How do you get them? How do you get them?
Well, he's saying that he had all these things before. So all that belongs to the Father is mine. Where is it? All, you know what I'm saying? All that... Yeah, why does he keep having it? All that belongs to the Father is mine. This is John 16:15.
All things, yeah, but notice what it says there.
Go for it.
Yeah, so 14 says, well, it's talking, I might start from 12 then. So I have yet many things to say unto you.
Yep, but you can bear them now. Yep.
Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak, and he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father hath are mine. Therefore said I that he shall take of mine and shall show it unto you. So when it says all things that the Father hath
are mine.
Are mine.
Yep.
So you're saying that he's always had that.
Yep.
Right. So then you know in Matthew the Matthew 28, the classic one.
28:19.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So when he says before then, I think it's on 17 or 18 about all power is given unto me. So what it says here about all that the Father has on mine.
Yep.
So he just had it, or was it given to him?
So he always had it all, right? As a consequence of him being of the same nature as the Father, right? But then, like I talked to you about before, the expression of these like attributes are time sensitive. They are showcased in different times in order to like fulfill the will of God.
Right. Okay, but then, so when he says all power,
think about it like this, right? Let's just say that I can dunk, right, on like a 10-foot realm, right? But I don't show you that, right? So I always had the ability to dunk. I just haven't showed it to you.
Yeah, but in Matthew, remember, Jesus is given them. He says given.
Yeah, so given the authority to mean in his station, right, as the incarnate Son of God, right, in his human nature. So whenever he talks about receiving or being given anything by the Father, it's in relation to his station in the incarnation, right, because he comes as a servant. But when he's in his divine nature, there is no given or being sent anything, because he already owns everything that the Father owns as a consequence of being of the same nature as the Father.
All right. So you're saying that that divine nature, was he in the full divine nature when it was shown in Daniel 7 when he was brought to the Ancient of Days?
So I would interpret that as showcasing the sort of like beginning, middle, and end, and even second coming potentially of the Messiah. So I would say that I don't know exactly what form that Daniel saw, but I don't think the point of the vision was to show him the form that he would take. All that he recognized was that there was somebody who looked like a human being approaching the Ancient of Days. So I think that even the vision itself is not like a literal play-by-play of what will occur, but it gives the idea, so that when Christ comes and realizes all of the things that Daniel had seen, we can then refer back to Daniel and see that Christ was spoken about before, like he mentions in John 5:29.
Right.
Search the prophets and you will see they spoke about me in John chapter 5. Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that he so when he says that he's given, so you're trying to say that he had that before the incarnation?
Yes.
And then it was taken away, or he gave it up?
It wasn't taken away, but you could say the term giving it up to mean that he lowered himself to the station of a servant. And so servants normally do not have the exact powers as their masters, right? But as time goes on in his ministry, he will showcase that he is the master.
Right, so
yep.
Right, so when so when did Jesus
yeah, see you, man.
Yeah. When you went back to, was taken back up into the sky.
Yep.
And went back to, like it says in Luke about sitting on the
right hand of the Father.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at that point, when you're sitting on the right hand of the Father, is he back to full power then?
Yeah. So he is now returned to his like glorified position.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So you know how the Muslims they like to bring up the one about Jesus keeps saying about my God, when he's speaking to different people. Well,
yeah, sure. Yeah. So instead of a servant, absolutely, the Father is his God. But also in Hebrews 1:8, the Father calls the Son God. So it's fine.
Right. But when you're saying about him saying that my God, would you say that that's just when he was on earth?
Sure, yeah. As a matter of the incarnation, sure.
All right, but then when you went back to sit on the right hand and back in his glorified form, at that point he wouldn't say anything about my God anymore.
I don't know what he would and would not say. That is still yet to be revealed, right? That's like all beyond my scope of things to say. But we can say confidently that when he was referring to the Father as his God, if the eternal Word of God takes on a human nature and comes to earth, it's unlikely he's going to become an atheist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so then, well, I suppose you could go to the good news then, in that we can find out what he says when he's back in his divine form. So
the entire amount, or just like an extract? Because is this the entire amount of things he's ever going to say?
No, just something.
Sure.
Extract of what
Go
he
for
says.
it. Go for it.
So this is Revelation 3 and 12.
Yep.
And he says, "Him that overcometh, will I make a pillar in the temple of my God.
Yep.
And he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name."
Okay.
So, who is this? Actually, let me read the next two verses. It says, "He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
Yep.
And unto the angel of the church of Laodiceans write, These things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God." So, what I've just read there, is that the human Jesus speaking, or the one who's already gone and sat on the right hand?
I am not sure actually. I might need to read it again. But even
just go to verse 1.
Okay.
We already read verse 1, didn't you? Remember when I said about him?
John, Revelation 3, verse 1?
No, Revelation 1.
Oh, 3.
And well, we read from 12.
Was it like 17? Okay, yeah, it's 17.
Yeah, I read from 12 down.
Right.
So it's the same, because this is 3, so it's the same one who's speaking, the one who had the The shining face and the belt of gold.
Who was dead but alive forevermore.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's carried on speaking.
Okay.
So it seems as if that same one who was in that divine form and was looking good still has a God.
Which is fine. So he can still refer to the Father as God. I don't have a personal problem with that because of like what we have in Hebrews 1:8. Like the Father refers to the Son as oh God, so it's okay.
Oh, but that means the Bible's saying two gods.
Well, no, it's not saying two gods. It's actually saying that there are three substances that are equal to the one God. So technically, the Father can call the Son God, and then the Son can call the Father God, and those will all be literal statements.
Okay, but has the Father ever said my God?
We have "Oh God," like "Thy throne, oh God, lasts forever."
Yeah, but here he keeps saying my God, my God, my God.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a problem. That wouldn't be a problem. That wouldn't signify the idea.
Police in a minute now.
Wait, what?
I'll call the police. Wait.
Wait, what now?
I'll call the police.
What's happening?
These people are coming and putting their phone on my face.
Dudes, don't do that, man.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
There is coming again. There is coming again. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Dude.
No. Oh, sorry.
Dude, what's wrong with you?
Just shut up.
Imagine if I said chasing you. You can't do that, man.
Your moon will split like Muhammad idiot.
Homeboy. No, don't talk about homeboy.
That idiot.
Homeboy.
That pedophile.
Homeboy,
That
please
Muhammad
go
is a
home.
pedophile.
Please go home, man. Homie, please take him home. Take him home. Take him home, man. Please. What's he doing? Oh, you're some kid, man. Being annoying. Dude, it is not your job to defend your prophet. Go home, you're a kid.
Yeah, because I can defend him.
God, I said that. Quran. I believe in it.
Sorry, what's going on? Yeah. 1 second, sorry, I'll be right back. Can you hold on 1 second?
No, sorry, we might as well, because I was going to go.
Okay,
yeah, it's
sorry.
about my time.
Cool, give me one. Okay.
Well, what we can do is we
can
just carry on next week if you're here.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Perfect. Let me
They want to come in the night and do it, try to attack people. That's what they want to do. Daytime they have no guts. Cowards. Bloody cowards they are. I'll call the police, I'm telling you. Don't ever try me. I am a woman and more older than your bloody mother.
Yo, we don't want to talk to you, bro. Get out of it.
This is not your space. This is not your house. This is not your mosque. This is a speaker's corner. Get lost. Get lost.
Why are you loud?
This is not your mosque.
Yo, I swear to God.
Be careful with me.
Wait, are you Christian? Are you Christian? Are you Christian? Are you Christian? Okay, someone swore at Jesus. Is that right or wrong? Yeah, you guys. No, I don't. He's a prophet in my religion as well. No, but nah, he's not God.
They're recording. They're recording. They will like why give it to me. Why tell them to don't record. No. Yeah, is you know flashing light? Is you know flashing light? Look behind you. Is you know flashing light? Look behind you. Look behind you. Look behind you. She's standing in front of the light. Look behind me. Look behind you. Can you see that? That's it. Can you see that?
Sorry, your name?
Michael.
Michael, David. Alright.
Wait, this is what.
Yeah, I'll be happy because you're on the public street.
This is do what you like. Don't listen to them.
I love them. But the way they behave, will they behave like a another Muslim?
Go and research it yourself.
The way they behave.
Go and find out. There's a
Are you not embarrassed to show these videos? Because every time I look at these videos, George, I get second-hand embarrassment. You have zero logical reason. Zero logic. I mean, because of you should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. There's logical reasoning. And we just said you worship God in spirit and in truth. That's a trinitarian claim. You worship the Father in spirit and in truth. Show me the Holy Spirit. If God is spirit and his people worship him in spirit, like God is spirit and his people. I'm actually going to match your energy. What is Tawheed? What is Tawheed? What is Tawheed? What is Tawheed, bro? No, we've spoken about it, correct? Now we're going in circles because of you. We've given you a lot of explanation about Christianity. You don't want to listen. Now let's move on to the next one. What is Tawheed? What is Tawheed? No. I'm here. The mic is here. What is Tawheed? What's the definition of Tawheed? I'm talking to you. Siraj, I'm here. Tell me. See, you're embarrassed, bro. You're embarrassed going in face. You're going against the teaching of Jesus. You know, it's not embarrassing, bro. Logical reason just flies through your head. I don't even know what standard of education you have, Siraj. I'm so embarrassed, bro.
Siraj, look.
I'm so embarrassed. I'm matching your energy.
If you got a point, bring it up.
This guy is so... You see how you're operating? It doesn't make any sense, Siraj. It doesn't make any sense.
Siraj,
you want to waffle on, it's not on to you, bro. Come.
But no, Siraj, surely... Siraj, come here. Siraj, answer him.
What is Tawheed?
Answer him then.
Let's speak about Tawheed.
Answer him.
Let's speak about Tawheed. Tell him. We're going in circles because of you.
If you answer that question,
we've answered you bare times. Now you're just zapping. We're going in circles because of you. What is Tawheed? Let's go to the next question.
So you have asked me a singular question, right? You have no. Pause, Siraj. You have agreed that once I answer this question, then you will answer his question. Right? Simple as this. Who is the God of Jesus? There is nothing that would say the God of Jesus is the Father. Why is this? Siraj, why? You go to Hebrews 1:8, and we can see that the Father calls the Son God. The Father says to the Son, "Your throne, O God, is the door forever." Siraj, capital. No. Siraj,
calm down.
Siraj,
what is Tawheed? What Allah calls himself Al-Makirin. The deceiver. It's Allah the deceiver. It's Allah the deceiver. It's Allah the deceiver, Siraj. It's Allah the deceiver. It's Allah the deceiver. Siraj, Allah calls himself Al-Makirin. It's Allah the deceiver. Siraj, now you see how you're yapping. You're running away from my question. You are running from my question, Siraj. You see, I answered your question gracefully and faithfully. Now you're running from my question. You're yapping. What is Tawheed? And why is Allah called Al-Makirin? Why is he called a deceiver? Why is he called a problem? You're the one who is great. What is your
He still has the same ego, same religion, that he can't make it.
To be a guy, I'm 53 years old. Your mind? Hold on, wait. I am 53 years old. What spirit is it's not going to happen.
There's gas issue, there's light issue.
If you want to be notified when I release any videos, then just click on subscribe and then click on the bell and select all, and so then you'll receive all of the notifications for when I release any videos.
Israelites will return to take down Islam.